Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Y'all are brewheads? Yeah, we brewheads. So pour a glass of craft beer, we can do this. Yeah.
What's good, y'all? This is C-Certified Brewhead, and welcome to episode 215 of Beer and Other Shit, the podcast Adjunct series. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening we're going back to Quebec, and I'm super happy about that because, one, this is something that we want to do more this year, so I feel like we've been going pretty hard, which is beautiful. And two, I'm extra stoked because this is a relatively new brewery, only opened earlier this year. And I love talking to new breweries, particularly, you know, getting settled, finding their feet, getting all their shit together. Love it. We met the team, met the team of these wonderful humans at our event in May. They made the trek down to Toronto for it, which was super dope. So we got to connect, and very happy to have them on the pod. So we're going to get right into it. I just want to say really quickly, this is the first pod we've been recording this week, and I don't know if anybody cares, but this was a big deal to me. If everyone's into D'Angelo, who's the greatest neo soul artist of all time, passed away on Tuesday, which was devastating. I don't know how many beer people know who that is, but shouts to y'all if you know. All right, let's do it, folks. Hang on, make sure I get this as clean as possible. Guys, please welcome. Well, here we go. Alex from Folklore in the building. Big dog.
I love the applause.
Hey, man. Got to bring it. Got to bring that energy.
Course,
Start the pod, brother. Dude,
course.
Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate you, man.
No worries, man. I'm excited.
Hell yeah, bro. It's been a long time coming. I know we spoke about it back in May, and we got it going finally. So you have curated a fantastic lineup of beer this evening for our conversation. Where shall we start?
I think we start with the Alkonost, the Czech Lager over there.
Hell yeah. Great choice as well. Tell us about that beer. Oh, I grabbed the wrong one.
The Czech Lager was interesting because we when we started doing it, at the time we had 3 brewers, and one of the brewers, he wanted to really do like a concoction mash.
Okay.
He really wanted to essentially brew a little bit, take some of it out, put it into the boil, top off the mash tun, transfer some more. They wanted to like keep it authentic to the Czech style. So this brew day, when I did it, I think it was somewhere around 15 hours.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was far too long. And we had a Saturday night comedy in, and the comedians, the green room was like in the warehouse in the back. So we're brewing, and these comedians just walking by, like, "Hey, can I pass now?" Because like I see a lot of like, you know, chemicals, hot water, hoses. Jeez. And I'm like, yeah, you can totally pass now. It's fine.
That's
so
amazing.
So
yeah, you did single decoction, double decoction?
Single.
Single? Hell yeah.
It's just something that we didn't do before when we did it originally.
Okay.
So it was something we wanted to try, and you can definitely tell. I find it's a lot crispier than it could have, than it would have been if we didn't do it. Okay. It was like, it was worth it, but like the 13-hour brew day was definitely a lot. It was definitely a long time.
Why was it? Excuse my ignorance. Is that just because the decoction requires another, like, don't you take a portion of the liquid out, like the water out, and then you reboil it and then put it back? That's right. Yeah,
it's just the process is longer, so
right.
it's not like, usually our brew days are normally around like 8 hours if you do it properly, because we're really into it, like the CIP, make sure there's CIP after, and make sure like you really, you know, disinfect everything, and we really want to keep everything as hygienic as possible. So normally it's about 8 hours, and then when you're doing those little alterations, it could go up to like 13 hours. And unfortunately, that day it was 13 hours. Damn. So yeah,
that is a long ass brew day, brother.
Yeah,
do you feel it's worth it for the end product?
I think it was worth it. Yeah, I think you can definitely taste it's crispy. It's definitely very light, and you can definitely tell that once we did it, that it was definitely worth it compared to if we didn't do it. You know, you can make like a really like quick lager, you know, to get it out, but we really took our time with it, and it definitely shows that you had a little like extra bit of love and care into it, you know?
Hell yeah, brother. Love to hear it. Well, with that, mate, great to have you on. Cheers, bro.
Cheers, dude. Cheers.
Head is awesome. Nose is great. Money. Yeah, that's great, dude. Got that perfect Czech bitterness going in there. Super balanced, nice little sweetness. grassy, herbal, earthy.
Mm-hmm.
Head is fantastic. This is brilliant, dude.
Thank
And
you,
this is the second time you've done this beer.
This is the first time we've done this beer.
Oh, I'm sorry, first time. Okay.
Yeah, so we've done every beer once because we haven't been around long enough to make it again.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We're getting to the point now where we're starting to get into making doubles now. Like we got to start making like the Bigfoot again, like a few other like beers like that. But the Alkonost is a one and done. We made it, and we probably won't make it again. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Was there any other? Did you use any specialty malts, or was there any specific hops in this one as well?
We used Saz, I believe, and I believe we used Metofru, which is like a German style like bittering hop.
Mm-hmm.
So we used those two hops, and for malts we use like Munich Type 1 pills from BSG. Just like very the basics. We didn't want to go too crazy with it. We just wanted to make sure you had a product that was nice and clean that people would enjoy and wasn't too out of left field that it might scare people off, you know.
Totally. I mean, yeah, this style can either be. It's interesting. I don't know if Czech style beers are always like gateway type of thing. Like if people are used to blondes or light domestic lagers or something like that. I don't know if they this might be a bit much for some people. So I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it's you know what I mean? Because some like this level of bitterness they wouldn't be used to compared to like a I don't know whatever a Coors Light or a 50 or some shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like Dep Run beers.
Basically.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that, man. That's super dope. Yeah, this is really money. This is fantastic. I think I guess it's probably the first crispy I've had from you guys. The other thing to specifically talk about as we talk about each beer is also the folklore side of it. So each beer, and we're going to get into the whole concept in more details as we go. Should we talk? Do you want to just maybe explain the name of this beer and what that's based on?
Yeah, for sure. So the Alkonost is a Czech folklore. Honestly, I don't remember every folklore we make because sometimes they are so outlandish and so like out of nowhere that it's not ones that we grew up with in Canada, like the Bigfoot or some that you've heard from when you were a kid. Like the Alkonost was something that I went to Google and I Googled Czech folklores and there was a list and Alkonost sounded like the most badass one. But every single can we do, we always write the folklore on the side. So if you don't know what the folklore is, you can actually read the folklore on the side, and it will tell you the original story. It's in French because we're in Quebec, so it has to be French. But
no choice.
Exactly. But if people aren't familiar with the folklore, they can definitely read the side. Pretty much my definition that I put is exactly what it is. It's a woman with talent and wings. It's kind of what I wrote down on the side. Yeah.
Yes, she looks kind of badass, like a Lord of the Rings character type shit.
Definitely a Lord of the Rings character.
Yeah, Lord of the Wings too. She got them wings.
Oh yeah, that was supposed to be a pun, but I'll take it. I'll take the pun.
I'm taking it.
I'm taking it while I can.
You got it, bro. This is great. This is great beer, man.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, I'm enjoying I feel like this is the first beer of the night, and I'm saying to you off air, I'm sort of coming off a bit of a cold, so I always wonder if my palate's a little sensitive on the first beer, and it kind of balances out. Is the bitterness quite pronounced, or am I misinterpreting it? It is. Okay.
No, it is. It's definitely supposed to be there. When we made it, so we made the beer originally because one of our head of our bartenders, Nick, he's a huge fan of the show, by the way. He's the guy that came with us to the 10-year.
Yes,
Nick,
you two and your pops, Shasta, your pops as well.
Yeah. So we all came, but he's been a big lager guy for a long time. He's into like the Godspeeds. I believe they're called Schilling Brewery.
In New Hampshire. Yeah, they're fantastic.
Yeah, Schilling, Melon.
Yeah, of course.
All the guys, Lougarou and Scott.
Yes, we just had them on.
Yeah, all those great logging places. And like, I was never really like a beer guy to begin with, but I was like definitely not a lager guy. He was like, if you make a good Czech lager and you make sure you hit these notes, you might be converted. So when we did this, like that's the reason why we did the type of mash we did as well, is because we really wanted to be really good that someone like me who isn't really a lager person could like it. So when we made it and I tried it, I'm like, okay, I get it now. I understand. It's
You're a
not,
convert.
yeah, beer that's
Yeah.
clear and like looks like this isn't always,
Your fave.
definite beer. There's always things that you can add that does definitely make it unique and different, and other breweries do it differently. So it's worth us, like, it's not like an IPA where it's like a bunch of different hops, New Zealand or like American hops and stuff, and the beer is always different because the malt profile and stuff and yeast. This is a very point and shoot type of beer, but if you do it well and you put your little flavor into it, it's definitely different than another Czech lager you can get from another place.
Gotcha. I like that. That's awesome, dude. So what was your favorite type of beer typically coming into the brewery? What did you drink a lot of?
I didn't drink beer.
Oh,
I
at
wasn't
all?
a beer guy. No, I was a whiskey
shit.
guy. So
Okay.
I didn't drink beer at all. And then I was drinking whiskey most of the time because I was like, yeah, I went to Ireland and I was like,
This
Irish
is fire.
whiskey, great, yeah. And then I was like, oh, I like Guinness. So like I like stouts, and I started drinking stouts a little bit. But then
Okay.
I went to New Zealand, I believe in 2023. And I did like Garage Project and Heyday and all those breweries
Hell
down
yeah.
there. And that's when I started going to the IPAs and like other type of styles of beers. So that was kind of my introduction to the actual craft beer scene. And I didn't have Untappd at the time, and it's like one of my biggest regrets I didn't have Untappd because I've had all these beers from like New Zealand that I haven't been able to tap at all. And I'm like,
Well, if you pay for the insider thing, you can go back and check it in, which is good. So
you know
like
what?
I only got it last. I would say stay. We talk about this on the pod a lot, so I'm glad you brought that up. They have. I got it last year because they had a Black Friday sale, so it was cheaper. And
Yeah.
they'll probably do it this year. So I
Hmm.
got it because when I started the selfie beer thing, I got Untapped. I think it ended up being beer because I number them like I'm almost at 10,000 finally, but I
Nice.
started at 867 or something like that.
Hmm.
So it pissed me off for the same reason that you're talking about, that I didn't check in those earlier beers. But I had the reviews. So what I did was when I paid for Untappd, I literally went through, you can go in, check, and once you pay for it, you can change the date.
Okay.
So I'm looking at my beer reviews. I'm like, okay, I can see I was at home, I was having it in a can, and I can boom, and this was the date on the pitcher, boom, check it in, done. So I went
Nice.
through, and it took me like a couple weeks to just do
Hmm.
like, I don't know, 50 a day or something. Anyway, if that there's a way to do it.
This is a way
So
to do it.
yeah, if you
I'm
have a
about to look.
list,
I'm about to look into that now.
honestly, I think it's worth it so that you can like, and I do want to get your brewery owner perspective on it, but as a drinker,
Hmm.
I find it sounds like we feel the same way. It's nice to just know what you've had,
Hmm.
what you gave it the last time you had it, where you had it, what format. Was it can, was it draft? Because maybe you had it in different years, but maybe one time it was draft, one time it was a can.
Yeah.
And you can just sort of like compare, and it's just sort of like, to me, it's all data.
Hmm.
And it's I was talking to dudes on fucking, what is it, the Toronto Craft Beer subreddit the other day, last week, and I saw people were like, you can go and like order the data so it shows how many check-ins by brewery. So
Hmm.
like you can get your top 10 on like the top 10 breweries you've drank
Oh.
from and stuff. I'm like, sick. A lot of them I wouldn't have even picked that I'd
Okay.
had that many from each one. So all that to say, as a drinker,
Hmm.
it's pretty fun, and you can sort of just get some interesting insights into your drinking habits and
Hmm.
as a brewery owner, do you
Yeah.
have any thoughts on Untappd?
Untapped is like, it's interesting because we have like the Untapped can like menu on our screen behind the
Ah,
bar for like
sick.
cans to go and stuff, and you can see the Untapped check-ins at the bottom. That's the ratings and
I
stuff
know
like
the one.
that.
I
So
love
for
that.
for us, it's super useful as like a visual for people to come in and they say, oh, 4 stars, 4 stars, 4 stars. Okay, I'll try them. It's nice. As someone who knows Untappd as a user, and I see how people use Untappd from this perspective as well. It's like, it's interesting seeing the type of rating people give,
Mm,
because
okay.
I get to see all the people who like review our beers, and we have an Irish dry stout, right? And if you're not a stout person, and I see you give us a stout a 2, but the reasoning being I'm not a stout person, it does damage the rating of the beer, which then people who might be stout people might not want to drink it. But at the same time, like, I get you're not a stout person, but maybe don't rate the beer then if you're not a stout person, you know.
I
But
couldn't agree more.
yeah,
Fuck
but
yeah.
it's super interesting to actually, like you said, collect the data, understand like, okay, well, our rating in draft is like a 4.1, our rating in cans like a 4, so maybe like our draft is better, so why is it not holding up in cans as well? Or if I'm looking from another perspective, like we send our beers to multiple different like craft beer stores in the area. So it's, oh, I bought this can from this location. Okay, so why did you rate it that way? Is it because of how they were storing it? Is it because it's a bit older? Is it because maybe that area might not be into that style? Like the style is very popular in Pointe-Claire. Like it's like I said, it's a you collect data. I guess that's how I use it. But it's definitely insightful.
Dude, that's the coolest shit I've heard from any brewery about it. I love that. That is so sick. I mean, maybe that's how other breweries are doing it, but no one's said that to me directly.
Mm-hmm.
That's fascinating. And I think that's the power of it. Like, and I saw I got served some ads for them. I can't remember if it was on like Instagram or something. And they were trying to get businesses or breweries to become the verified venue. So I think you pay X amount per month, and then you get more access because you can go to the menu and da-da-da. But even without that, then, so you're saying that you can still find out what the average rating is per style or format and all those different things, which you can use that data then to make decisions as to, oh, our cans aren't performing. Cool. So maybe our DO's fucked or whatever. Or maybe this store is not selling through the IPA, so they're getting old and then people are rating them low. So maybe we should sell them a half case instead of a full case every time or something like that. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's very insightful because, like, again, like I look at it from a business owner perspective, but I also look at it from a consumer perspective where I can see it as I'm looking at the ratings of beers when I go to like my local craft beer store, and I'm looking at the ratings. I pick up a can, I look at the rating, and go, okay, it's like a 3.8. Okay, maybe I won't buy this can for $8, $9. Maybe I'll buy the Bad Bones. That's
right.
a
Something's more
4.3
of a sure
across the
thing.
board. Yeah. But then I'm like, and then I look at the stats and I go, well, people are giving it a 4.1 or a 4. Like, is it because of how it's consumed? Is it because of how it's stored? It's because it's older. Like, it's very, it does give you a lot of insight, and then it does give you the flexibility to change. Like you said, like maybe not a full case, a half case. Or maybe they keep us on like a shelf, maybe ask if they can put us in a fridge.
Yeah.
Like if you have like a smoothie, right? People store them upside down, right? Like what brewery is it? There's a brewery that has it on the actual can itself saying store upside down, keep cold for the smoothies. I don't know which one it was.
I think I've seen Third Moon do that, I think.
Third
They
Moon
put like
does
a
it.
sticker on it.
Yeah, it says
Yeah.
please store upside down.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah.
But
And
I've seen specific, sometimes it's specific ones. So maybe it's not, I think I know what you're talking about. I know I've seen them have a separate sticker like on the top of the can that says store upside down or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Maybe Brewski does it too for the brew juice.
Yeah, maybe they do. But either way, you're right. It's all about that sort of way that they treat the beer. And
it's how you preserve it, yeah.
Yeah. But all that to say, yeah, it gives you just so much more understand. Or at the very least, if you keep noticing average ratings from this store, and I imagine you can sort it by where it was purchased, yeah? So then you could be like, all right, this store, man, this beer is getting higher ratings if they come to the tap room, but this store's whack. Then you can go to it and you can be like, fuck, it's on the shelf. What's going on?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. On the other thing you said before about not rating it, I've said this on here before, but I want to tell you, but plus also reiterate it. I was told by a brewery that particular distributors in Europe, say, for example, they won't touch a beer unless at the average is 4.2.
Yes.
For example. So if somebody has, and this is what I always kind of criticize people a little bit or encourage people to either not rate it or don't fuck over small breweries in the sense of I have my average rating is 4.11 or something because I don't drink bad beers. I drink great beer. So the beers that I drink, I think, are worthy of that. I'm probably a little more generous as well because I know a lot of the people, but I just think it's really fantastic beer. I know there's some other people who have just a lower rating, so maybe 2.5 is good to them, but 2.5 on Untappd is not good at all. So it's like I think there's a disconnect between people's individual rating systems and then how it actually works on Untappd.
Yeah,
So I typically would encourage people to do what you're saying if they really insist on, because they're gonna like if you got a new beer and that beer comes out and you're trying to get a distributor for it, you know, everyone's rating it 4, 4.3, 4.5, 4.7, and then someone comes in and goes, yeah, it's pretty good, 3. Like that's gonna bring the rating under 4,
100%.
particularly when it's new, and then you are gonna be in people are either not going to do what you suggested, where they're going to check it on Untappd before they buy and be like, yeah, maybe pause on this one, or a distributor might pass on a perfectly great beer just because one or two people had a strange system. So
there's definitely a few beers that I've had where I've had it, like I had a few recently because I'm clearing out my fridge, right? So
I know the vibes.
So like when we started like the brewery and stuff, I had to go do homework, which is what I told my mother. That was the excuse. So I went to my local like craft beer store and like I bought like $200 worth of cans, and I started tasting them, saying, okay, well I like this flavor in this one and that flavor in that one, and actually like studying, I guess, and like trying to figure out what I like in each beer. And I started going through my fridge recently and clearing out some of the old stuff from like January, like last December, and they're all falling apart, but I haven't had them before. So I reviewed them. I gave them a 4. I call it a day because a 4 doesn't damage a brewery because it's still a 4. It's not like a 2 or a 3. But if it's hypothetically a brewery that doesn't have great ratings, it's a good rating for them. You know, it's right down the middle. I can review it. I've had it, and it either helps the brewery or doesn't damage the brewery. So it's right down the middle.
That's a smart approach. I like that. And that's a thoughtful approach. Did you think about that before being a brewery owner, or were you behaving that way? You were.
Yeah, I was. Okay. Because so I was working here. I was working at Labrosse.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, so I was a bartender at Labrosse, and I remember seeing your Untappd reviews like towards the end kind of really dip down. And I remember in that moment going, well, that kind of just like damages the reputation of a brewery. Like you see a brewery that might have changed brewers or might be going through something, and you see the ratings go down. As a consumer at the time and not like an owner, I didn't want to go there anymore. I didn't want to go to a brewery that is like, you look at the ratings recently, it's like threes. Like, do I really want to go there? When you have other breweries, especially in Montreal, where we have such a dense brewery area, where we have a lot of breweries, but also a lot of great breweries, where it's like, do I really want to go on my way to this brewery who's been recently getting 3s, when there's a brewery that's an extra 10 minutes away that's been getting 4 2s, 4 1s, I'm going to go there, So that's when I realized, I'm like, give me something at 4. It won't kill you, to do that. It's good for the business, and it doesn't actually in any sort of way damage the consumer by putting a 4, So
no, I think that's fair. That's a really fair approach, I think, because I think some people are like, well, no, that's how I feel. I'm like, I get it, but like, is it it's not a bad beer? Like you said, sometimes, like there was a brewery recently who had a beer and they put it out, and then they sort of like, I heard through behind the scenes that it was like there was something didn't really go so well with that particular beer. And I didn't think it was really that bad. I was a little worried to drink it, but it was fine. And I just didn't give it a rating. I just I could have just given it a 4, but I just gave it no rating because they said they're going to do it again. So I was like, cool, I'll check into it, take my little photo, boom, boom. I didn't do my review though. I just checked it on Untappd and then let it go. So I think that's really good advice. And because sometimes I think the pushback that some of the more harsher critics would say, they would be like, yeah, man, well, I think it's a 2.5. I'm like, I get it. But but it's just not. Like, I don't know. In whose world is it a 2.5? Like a crappy macro is 2.5.
Yeah.
The craft beer, particularly, you're right, in Montreal and Quebec in general, is just so insane. It's
so strong.
It's between Quebec and Ontario, you could sit here and debate all day which is better. Like it's impeccable. So it's very competitive, and all of these businesses are all owned by, for the most part, like yourself, family owned, just a couple, maybe, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Some friends gone in. They're just, it's not big conglomerates, like people. These are real families who are just supporting the community and that really care, and that are making high quality products with high quality ingredients. And sometimes shit happens, but it's not worth, like, is it worth penalizing them because someone might consistently rate them so low that your example of maybe there's a couple of people who keep going to one brewery to keep rating it low, and to them they're enjoying the beers, but they don't understand that 3 is ruining the thing, and then all of a sudden they're going to lose some customers because of that. So it's a complex, like, what's another industry that has something like this? I couldn't think of anything.
I really can't think of anything either, because the first thing I thought of was Yelp. And then I was like, maybe I don't actually know how Yelp works.
No, Yelp is a perfect example, but I guess it's just not niche down like this. This is a specific niche.
It's a very
user
niche
rating
clientele.
app. Yeah, but or like a niche, like an app that just rates one industry. Like there isn't an Untappd for cheese or wine or cider. Cider is on Untappd actually, but I don't know how many people take it seriously. So it's like it's such a weird thing that I don't know. I just feel like consumers need to give breweries some grace because of that, and because it's small batch, sometimes shit happens.
Yeah,
and it's okay.
And it's also like you said, it's most of them are family owned, right? A lot of breweries, especially in Ontario and Quebec, are family owned.
Yeah.
So you have guys who, honestly, they might not be full-time brewers or full-time, but there's like their passion, right? There's like their dream. So
Good point.
They're putting that extra, like, they get their paycheck, and then they take a little bit of their paycheck, they pay their bills, and the rest goes to making a batch. And then somebody comes in, gives it a 3, it could damage somebody's dream who, they're getting off the ground, or this is like a passion project for them, and it's rooting the clientele that would be coming to spend money buying their beers, and it's scaring people off. So yeah, it's definitely I agree.
I love it. I'm glad we had that convo, and I really appreciate your perspective on this from both sides, like, because you were already behaving like this pre brewery ownership, and you saw the real impacts of that as working at another brewery that ended up being your space, but still you got to see it, and you're like, oh shit, okay, this is crazy. This is like not. These are something that you need to be aware of. And was there any element of customer education on Untappd that you ever saw or participated in? Like, did people explain tell, like, say you see someone
like
and
the
tell a
descriptions,
customer,
like people like people like, oh, I gave it a this rating for this reason,
but and be like, hey, just so you know, that can actually hurt, like everything we're just talking about. Have you ever had to explain that to anybody?
I haven't had to explain it to anybody, but I've definitely received a few comments here and there, like, oh, it's very bittery, maybe too bittery for my liking, or it's too bittery for the style, or something like that. And then you know what? Then I have to go back and check the recipe. I got to go back and look. Maybe they're right. Maybe it's just a profile thing that I can change, or it gives you a perspective of, I need to go back and at least reevaluate.
So you're saying if it's a lower, and I agree with this, if someone wants to give a lower rating, the very least you can do is write a comment with why. And if that comment is, I don't like stouts too, then we know that you're being ridiculous. But if they're saying, hey, this Czech lager is much too bitter for the style, or much too light, or too whatever, or not something enough, then you're like, okay, that's real feedback that you can be like, cool, noted. I'm gonna go take a look and talk to the team. And
I'll go back to the whiteboard, and I'll take a look at, okay, maybe if I did this, maybe it'll be a bit more, less bittery. Like, I'll at least give it a look. Because, like, that's the thing, is like, I can sample a beer out of the tank and say, oh yeah, this tastes good to me. But maybe my taste buds are all screwed up, and I'm like, maybe I just don't know, and maybe the community is looking for something else, right? Like, maybe if I like dry IPAs, so I make this dry IPA, and I'm like, yeah, this is great. And then the community is like, we really want hazy, juicy IPAs. if I don't take that to account, no one's gonna buy the dry IPA. This is gonna go elsewhere. It's like no matter how much us as the business ownership and the brewing group like a certain style of beer, it's a community thing. Without the community, we don't really have this space to make beer for people. So we have to make sure the community is happy, right? Because they're the ones that pays the bills and keeps the roof over our heads here. So to a degree, like, yeah, we want to do things that make us happy and things that we enjoy, but at the same time, if you have the community saying, hey, like, here's a little feedback, this is what I would do, definitely at least worth a look.
I like that. Has there been any learnings that you've had so far that have been taken from the community? For example, what you just said, you've made a style, you thought it was on point, and then everyone was like, oh no, we wouldn't want it more like this. Have you had anything like that yet, or is it still too early?
We haven't had anything like that quite yet. We've had a few things here and there, like more like style recommendations, like
Okay.
hey, could you make a saison? Could you make a smoothie, stuff like that? But not really like yeah, we like your style, but could you change the style a little? Like, we like the fact that you're doing this IPA. Could you not make it dry, make it juice? We haven't had something like quite that niche.
Gotcha.
It's more like style changes of, oh, you don't have a smoothie. Why don't you have a smoothie? You should make a smoothie. I'm like, okay.
Right. So if you hear that enough, would you do it?
100%.
Okay. That's good. I don't know if all breweries would. I think sometimes breweries have which we'll get into when we get into your story, but sometimes breweries, I guess, have like the whole point of this brewery is we're going to do this narrow, like some of the breweries we were talking about earlier with the Crispies, like Godspeed is never going to do a smoothie. So,
No,
okay,
no.
cool. Like that's what they do. And you go and suggest it until you're blue in the face and they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
So it's like, it sounds like, so you're pretty open to trying almost anything, I imagine then?
Well, when we first started the brewery, so we wanted to have a lot of variety for everyone.
Gotcha.
So when we started the brewery, we did a Irish dry stout, an English brown ale. We had a blonde. We had an IPA, a double IPA. Like, we really wanted to make sure we hit like a West Coast, and I really want to make sure we had hit everything as much as we could. And we had a Berliner Weiss.
Okay.
So a German wheat sour. We want to make sure we had as much variety as we could. So if you come in and you don't necessarily like IPAs, we've got a whole other option for you. If you don't like stouts, we got a whole other thing for you. So it's the flexibility of having variety, which allows people to come in and feel like there is something for them,
Right.
And I feel like unless like specialty places, like we both know, like Rob from All My Friends, he makes a kick-ass IPA, and he will continue to make kick-ass IPAs.
Right.
Like, I don't like, he has his gusher, he makes his lagers from here and there, and he has his IPAs, but like, he has an IPA place. We want to kind of have a specialty, but we want to make sure we have something for everyone.
Gotcha. I like that though. It's I think both angles are really good. I was about to say, as a new brewery, it's probably a good way to do it, but also it's probably a lot of breweries would start, like Bar Canada apparently started doing all Belgians and stuff, and then they moved into all the other stuff. So I think it's probably good to your approach and try a bit of everything, and then maybe over time people are going to gravitate to specific styles, and then you could be like, well, they really love our IPAs and our lagers, so we can do more of those and less of the other stuff or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, they created identity, but you don't know what the identity is yet until you at least put everything on the board, and then you see, like, we're back to the Untappd thing. You see the ratings, you take the data, and you go, okay, these beers are performing better than these beers. We'll make another one of these. That's so yeah, exactly.
Just need some time to do it.
Just need some time.
I love it. As much as I want to keep, I'm almost done this crispy anyway. Do you want to jump into the next beer and then we'll get into the full story?
Ooh, yeah. Let's do the King Arthur. Why not, huh? Yeah, let's do a King Arthur.
King Arthur, let's go. You got Dad passing you the beers out. I love it.
Dad's on nitro duty right now.
on nitro duty? You got it on nitro?
So yeah, So I'm at the brewery right now.
Oh no shit. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm at the brewery right now, and he's pouring because I knew I wanted to do it here because it's on nitrogen.
Smart.
And yeah, so I just knew I wanted it on nitrogen. So there you go.
And this is
And
a
I did.
brown ale, which
This
is
is
a oh, it's called an amber ale, but it's really a brown ale more so.
yeah.
Is that right?
K
Okay.
K. Is that the K? Is that the King Arthur? I need the King Arthur. You didn't hear me.
Hey, it's
Thank
all
you.
good. Giving you something else.
Exactly.
Brown ale can go in.
He's having a
Oof.
beer. Actually, we're gonna have later. He's having the Gluck right now. Actually,
Oh, that's the fest beer, right?
that's the best beer. Yeah, that one's kicking ass right now.
I'm looking
Actually.
forward to that in the big ass stein. I've been holding that. I've been waiting for that, bro.
Some Stein activities.
Oh, mate, it's the best time of year. So while I'm
100%
doing
it
it,
is.
so the can says amber ale, but it's a brown ale. Is that an
Yes.
intentional? I mean, I guess it is pretty amber though.
Yeah, it is an intentional thing because we realized. So we made it as an English brown ale, and then we realized that people might not know what an English brown ale is.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah,
decided to
very
go and switch it to. Yeah, we decided to switch it to call it an amber.
'Kay.
But yeah, it was just a whole lot of.
Oh, woo!
Yeah,
looks awesome.
It's just gonna have to simmer a bit, but
He's gonna sit. It's okay. We got time. So it's intended to be an English brown ale, but it ends up looking kind of more like an amber, so it kind of makes more sense for consumers to see it as
yeah, because if
an
somebody gets
amber
an English brown ale, then you pour that and it looks all red and like ambery, they'll go, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah, that's a good point because it's kind of like is it so like the real traditional English style, hence
Mhm.
the amber. Okay, totally makes sense. I did have this one because you gave me this back in May, so I'm happy to have this again. I
Mhm.
love English styles. This was so was this something that you guys do? Well, I guess we'll get into it as well. But you do a lot of English styles at all?
So I was born in the UK.
Oh, okay, shout outs.
So yeah, so I was born in this little town called Ascot, and I lived in a town called Datchet, just outside of like Windsor in the UK, near London.
Okay,
And my grandparents are from Coventry. So when we opened up the brewery and we started figuring out, okay, what do we want as like mainstay flagship beers, we had to pay homage to the heritage. So we realized that a pub ale, like an English amber or English brown ale, it has to be a mainstay, because if people
yeah,
like their ambers, people like their reds, and it's on nitrogen, it's not going to go away. People are going to love it.
nope.
It's very reliable, caramel, malty. Like it's pretty much it's what you want inside a brown ale or an amber. My goodness, hold on, I
Oh,
like that.
look at that nitro,
Yeah. So
glorious. Oof, fuck, nitro's the best,
yeah.
brother. Cheers, get
Cheers,
that in you.
mate. Cheers.
Nose is wicked. Money. It's got such a nice malty sweetness.
Mhm.
I
Oh
feel
my
like
God, it's
this
all over my face.
worth it.
Yeah.
5.7. Which is 5.7 a little on the higher side for the style?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so this is actually the first beer we ever made.
Okay.
So
Hell
that
yeah.
was when we were starting to kind of figure out so when we bought the place, we brought back some old brewers from Labrosse, but they were off already doing their own thing. They retired from the brewing scene, right? So this beer was their first brew in like a year. So they were still trying to figure out the process. So there was a few hiccups here and there. So the beer went from a 4.5 to a 5.7 very quickly.
Gotcha. Hey man,
Yeah.
it works though. It
Yeah.
works really well.
Mhm.
It's so smooth. I mean, obviously it's even better on nitro that you can tell that beautiful head there. Yeah, it's got that. It doesn't taste 5.7. It definitely tastes like a nice, beautiful crusher of a low ABV, like British pub ale.
Yeah.
But it's got that body even out of the can though. The body is so smooth and creamy. Like it's I can see why this would be the perfect nitro
Yeah.
beer for the tap room.
So when we made this, it wasn't nitrogen.
It
We
wasn't.
made this and it was carbs, and we had one nitrogen tap, and it was for our Irish dry stout.
Okay. That also
And
makes a lot of sense. Oh, this
yeah,
is
so we had
great. Fuck.
that. We had that, and then after that, we made it, it sold out quickly. And then we were talking about remaking it, maybe changing recipe a little bit. And like I remember we were talking to 3 brewers, and we were sitting there, and we were going, "What if we just put on nitrogen?" It's just like we're sitting there, and like I'm sitting, like, "What if we just do nitrogen?" And they're like, "Oh, we could do that." And then we just like we were not looking back.
This is how it is now.
Yeah, we are not changing that after that. It's not happening.
And you decided to keep it at 5.7, I guess, for the second batch. Yep. Just happy with how it turned out.
We kind of like we wanted to change it to make it a little bit more bittery, a little bit more malty, add a little bit more body. Because originally the review we got, like we went back to the feedback, we had a lot of feedback saying it's a little watery, more body. I'm like, okay. So we went back, added a little bit more malts. We kind of added that more. We have more body to it.
Okay.
Added a few more like bittering hops, and this is the product we got from it. And I think this is like it's very rare. I find that you remake a fan favorite beer, you remake it, and it comes out better, right? Because it's a very fine line you're playing with. Where if you have a beer that people really like, and then you change something, people can go, "That's not what I remember," you know. And like when I was bartending, we had a lot of that. It was a lot of like, "This isn't the beer I remember it to be," you know. So there is a risk. But luckily, we ended up making a better product, which people now have latched onto. So there's definitely no changing that recipe. That is not happening.
You're stuck with this one. So you've actually done. Is this the only one you've done twice?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the only one we've done twice.
So the first batch was 5.7, and then did you say? So then you did a second one that was 4.5, and people were like, "No, it needs to be more pumped up." Or you were saying that they were saying the original 5.7 batch was a little thin, and they wanted more body.
They wanted the 5.7 batch to have more body.
Gotcha.
So we kept that 5.7. We added more body for the second batch.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay. That's beautiful. You're just taking that feedback and running with it immediately.
Yeah, like again, like I wasn't an amber guy. So there's people who come in and it's like, I drink ambers every day, and this is what I like in an amber. I go, all right, I'll do it, because how would I know? I don't know anything.
Right? Yeah, that's true. And if that's what the people are telling you, then it's kind of perfect. I've heard a lot that this style I've heard this from multiple people in different places, that it, like red ales, amber ales, whatever, are one of the most popular taproom beers. Is that? Do you find that?
I find that, yeah. And it was funny how now that we have it on nitrogen, it's like you can play the game where is it the beer or is it because it's on nitrogen? It's like exciting, you know. It's like, oh, it's nitrogen, it's like carb. But no, I find even beforehand the fact we had to make another batch is because it sold out so fast on the opening day, the opening weekend, the week after that. We were like pretty near the end of the batch already, 2 weeks in. And we're like, oh, okay. And we were not expecting that, but it was definitely like people would come in and they would get this or the stout, and just crush them, have 2 or 3, get a couple cans, go home, you know. And it's not like, it was definitely an eye opener. It wasn't something I really was like knew was gonna happen. Like when we opened, I originally was like, okay, we have this IPA, we have a double IPA. You know, I'm expecting this to be the main beers. And then at the end of the day, you check how many beers you sold, and you check which beers were like the most popular beers. And this was number 1. And I had to have that moment where I'm like, yeah, I was like, damn, this is interesting. This is like not what I expected at all. Like if I placed money down, I would have lost a lot of money that day, you know? Luckily I didn't, but.
Well, very lucky you didn't, and you got to see it through. And honestly, that's fascinating. One of the jokes we used to always have with me and other beer media nerds were like, we used to joke about like Team Roos, because in Quebec, the Roos beers were like the least cool, but like they had their fans for it. And, you know, we just always just make fun of it. And then this was my first ever favorite style, getting into beer like, I don't know, 15 years ago. So then it's almost like you drink it, loving it, then it becomes pedestrian and you go and explore everything else. And then years later you come back, you're like, I fucking love a red ale, man. Like, yeah, it's just such a phenomenal style. And the British ones are arguably the best, because I guess they're the OGs of the style, and they're just so good. So I see the appeal, and I just think it's an interesting thing that they tend to consistently be a taproom favorite. I wouldn't have necessarily picked number one, but
Yeah.
that they just highly in demand. Like I was at a brewery doing a collab for our anniversary,
Mhm.
and an older gentleman came in and he was like, he wanted they had a bitter or something, so they were
Oh,
out of
yeah.
it. It's like, and he was like, okay, go. Do you have like a amber ale? I'm like, oh no. I'm like, do you have a brown ale? He was just asking for everything in that, and they just didn't happen to have anything that particular day. So it was like, and I'd heard about that, and it was interesting seeing it in the wild. We were just standing there, and some guy came in. So I was like, okay, this is a real thing then. Like people really do
There was a
get.
demand.
There's a big
Yeah.
demand in all different, breweries with all different approaches. I guess like it's not, you wouldn't always pick it
Mm.
because it feels like a pub beer. Like maybe you want to,
Yeah.
it'd be more popular in a pubby kind of
It's a
brewery.
food beer.
Great call. It absolutely is a food beer.
It's a
just enough
greasy food
flavor.
beer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it cuts through it. A
Hmm.
little bit of bitterness, malty, sweet.
Super easy. Take a drink. Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. No, this is a banger. I love it, man. So,
Thank you, man.
let's get into the story there. So let's talk about you first. So, how did you personally? I know we sort of touched on it a bit with you got into beer a bit later. How did you actually get into beer, and then how did that lead to you? I guess you working at Labrosse and then starting the brewery.
So my dad was a big craft beer guy. He travels a lot for work, and his thing is he goes on tap, looks up the local breweries with the best ratings, and he would go.
That's awesome.
And he would drink all those beers. He does the Untappd, comes home.
What a legend.
So his local for a couple of years was Labrosse. It was right next to our house, and he would go, and especially during COVID time, he would come here and Mezzo, and pick up like a case to last him like a week and a half, 2 weeks, and he would drink all the cans and stuff.
Drinking beer.
So yeah, so he would do that, and he had a small group of friends where they loved craft beer so much they had a pitch for HGTV where they wanted to pitch a road trip style show where they would road trip and go to all these craft beer places. It's like, oh, I'm road tripping from here to here. I'm going to hit 8 craft beer places. Just put a camera on us and we'll just drink the whole time. It sounds perfect. I would watch it, but it sounds perfect.
Yeah.
But that was the original plan. And then I started working. As a bartender here at Labrosse. And then things weren't really going too well, and then the opportunity rose for us to purchase the place. And at the time, I was starting to get into beer.
Okay.
I just came back from New Zealand. I did the Garage Project IPA, so I was like, wow, beer isn't just like, but like, it's like there's more to this, right? Everyone has that moment, but I was like, whoa.
Of course.
And then I came back from Ireland, and I was like, I had Guinness, and I'm like, this is the best thing to ever exist. So I was kind of in between what I was going to do at school. I was going to Concordia for history and Irish studies, and I was like, I don't know if this is for me. It's a lot of studying, a lot of reading. And then the opportunity rose to go to Siebel's Institute of Brewing.
Yes.
In Chicago.
Right?
Yeah. So I enrolled into that, and I started doing that. So when we bought the brewery, I was in school for brewing. I was able to sit in on brews and watch the brews and make recipes with 2 of the old Labrosse brewers who came back from their jobs and came out of retirement, and I was able to actually learn from them. So now I kind of like developed this new like appreciation for not just craft beer, but beer in general.
Right.
Like there's beers that I don't necessarily like that are like Dep beers, but I can appreciate them because they're made well. Like it might not be crazy to me, but they're made well. That's why they're so popular. They're like,
For
you
people
follow
who
the
don't know
guideline.
what that is, could you explain what a Dep beer is?
A Dep beer is like what I describe, like a beer that you can go into an Esso and go to the beer section and you'll find it.
Right.
Like they're not necessarily like crazy IPAs, or you might get like your Labatt's or your Coors, Budweiser's, like very
Slim,
household names, for type of beers.
Gotcha. PBR, all that type of stuff.
Yeah. Like that's the type of beer that I call like
a
Dep
Dep beer.
beers.
It's essentially like a macro, one of the macros for the most part.
Yeah. Right. And like, so I can drink those. I won't necessarily like it, but I can appreciate the fact it's made well. I can appreciate the brew behind it, that they have a good recipe, a solid recipe. They fall through. It's made well. There's no off flavors. It's clear. It's like, like I can now, from the perspective of a brewer and like someone who went to school for brewing and as a business owner, I can appreciate the way it's made.
Right.
But when we bought the brewery, that's when I started to figure those things out. It was a lot of, I'm sitting and I'm watching the 8-hour brew day and I'm going, Jesus Christ, this is a lot. This is a lot of like moving heavy objects, a lot of like a long day,
Sweating.
Cleaning. And how many beers do you get after the math? Like how many? Oh,
Like
definitely. Fair shout. Yeah, fair shout. Definitely.
Yeah.
But like it's a long process that I wasn't aware of. So to give me that new perspective and appreciation for it. And then all of a sudden beer started tasting better because I knew that there was an actual craftsmanship behind it. There's an actual someone sourced the materials, but brewed for like 8-9 hours, made this product. The canning day happens, the labeling happens. It's like a full system that I just didn't know. So once I put those pieces together, I started to really appreciate it. And then I started to pick up on the notes. And then I started to actually like beer at that point.
Okay. So did you start to like be a pre going to Fable in Chicago, or were you sort of not sold even at that point?
I was getting into it. I was starting to understand the IPAs, like IPA. So I was like, when I came back from New Zealand, it was a lot of like, IPAs don't always taste like weed. There's more to IPAs. And I didn't know that. So I had a couple in New Zealand, and New Zealand, the home of freestyle hops. Everything there has freestyle hops. Everything there is like as fresh as you can get. And I was like sitting there drinking all these beers, going, this is actually really good. Like I did not expect that. And then I had the Guinness in Ireland, and I'm like, this is phenomenal. This is not what you can get like in McKibben's or an Irish pub here in Montreal.
Totally.
So I started to appreciate the variety.
Right.
And as someone who
to make you want to go to school.
Yeah, because I was always the type of guy, like I wanted to own a pub when I was a kid. Not kid, but like when I was growing up, I was like, I want to own a pub. An Irish pub, live music, whiskey, like laughs, dark wood, a good community spot. That's what
Pub
I
food.
wanted to do.
Yeah.
Pub food, hand food, like that's what I wanted. So I was a whiskey guy, and I go, I'm gonna have so many crazy whiskeys because each whiskey is different. It's made different, has different flavors.
For sure.
Once I correlated the whiskey flavor thing to beer flavor thing, I was able to sit there and go, okay, there's a lot more to this, which gave me the appreciation. And I liked, when I was growing up, I liked being creative. I liked creating things. So that is why I made that switch to brewing, because for me, it was like, I can be creative, taking my creative like wants into a product and then give it to people to enjoy. And that was why I kind of made that switch from school, becoming a teacher and doing all that stuff to what I'm doing now. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And then so Chicago really gave you the foundation for everything, and then you were like it's a family business, I imagine. It's yourself, your dad.
So the family business it's so everyone does like their role. My dad owns it. Like he owns it. I guess we all own it. Yeah, like we all own it technically. But so I brew. My sister does all the labels. She hand draws every label that we make because she went to school for art.
Okay.
So she hand draws all the labels. I brew all the beer. My dad, like, he helps source everything. He does the merch. Like he's the guy that's always on the phone, doing all that stuff. And he goes, I have this amount of product for you to make this beer. Does this work? I'm like, yes. Or I give him a list. I go, could you get this for me? And he goes, yes. I'm like, awesome. And then I make the beer. But yeah, it was a full family thing.
Okay, that's dope. I like that a lot. And I liked it. I guess we'll get to it, but that you guys rolled through the event and it was like, hey, I met all you guys. I thought that was so dope that as a new brewery that you made the effort to come to go, and it wasn't necessarily about our event, but just to network talk to people and stuff because it showed you like serious and you had beer for everyone and like so this is sick. Didn't get to talk to you as much as I would have liked, but I thought that was a really cool move, and I liked that it was because your dad was like, "Hey, and I'm his dad." I was like, as if he was sort of letting you have the front, front and center and stuff. He was like really, really sweet. I just thought that was really dope. So I'm happy. That's why I was just curious as to what the sort of like the way that it all works. Okay, so when did you purchase the brewery from Troy at Labrosse?
Oh God, I would say March, early March. We bought the brewery.
Okay, and then when did you open as Folklore?
May 10th.
Fuck. Okay, so that's a 2-month cross changeover. I guess it's because you bought a literal plug and play. When did Labrosse close?
Oh geez.
Was it this year or was it last year?
So it was this year. So Labrosse closed in end of February. Around, because I remember working. I remember working the last shift of Labrosse. Me and Nick. And then I went home to my dad. I'm like, well, that's it. I got to go on Indeed now. I was like, no, that's tough. I got to go do that now. And then we're like, hold on, let's ask. Let's go see. Let's engage. But
say, hey, so what are you doing with the place?
Yeah, like what's your intentions? So that's what we did. It was the end of February when Labrosse went under, unfortunately. Yeah.
And so you're like, okay, approach Troy, be like, look, what's going on? And I guess he was like, hey, I'm looking to offload it. And you're like, okay, well, let's talk some numbers. Obviously, those numbers made sense.
Yep.
And you guys were like, well, I guess you were probably just looking at each other like, I guess the universe put this in front of us, put it on our lap. And you're just like, you got to say yes.
It was very fast. The process was very fast. I think it was like the 29th we reached out and asked, and then I think by March 7th or 8th we were looking into the purchasing of like the equipment, and then by the 15th 16th time it was like, all right, what's the name? Like what do we do now? Like we have it. What's next?
Wow. And
yeah, it was very fast.
You got everything, like the equipment was already there. So it wasn't even about buying the equipment. I mean, you got the building.
So what happened was we bought the equipment and then we got the
changed the lease.
Gotcha. Changed the lease. Yeah.
Okay. So everything was already there, meaning that you didn't have to source equipment. You didn't have to set it all up because everything, I've been there a couple of times. So if it's how I remember, I'm sure it's probably much better now. The bar's there, the lions are there, the chairs, the tables, like the whole, everything's there. So you're like, all right, cool, switch the lease. Everything is good to go. What did you have to do aesthetically on the inside, if anything?
So there was a few things we had to do. Like we had to make sure that we hit all the sanitization levels, right? We had to make sure that everything was clean. We had to make sure that
passing health code type shit?
Yeah, health code type shit. Yeah. So we had to do all that stuff. We also inherited all the product. So we inherited all the beer that Labrosse made at the time. And we inherited all
recipes, or you mean physically
the beer,
cans?
The actual beer. So when we bought the place, they were mid-brew on a German Pilsner.
Oh.
Yeah, they were mid-brew on a German Pilsner. So when there was that, it's kind of funny how it worked, because during that limbo period, it was sitting in the tank, lagering.
Which is perfect.
So it was like a blessing in disguise. When we bought the place, we're like, wow, we have this fully ready 4% German Pilsner that's been lagering for 2 months. That's great.
Jeez, it's kind of money.
Yeah, it's like, that's awesome.
Wouldn't always get that tank time.
No, exactly, right? So
so that means it must have been pretty quick. Sorry to cut you off. Really quick for Troy for that to happen. As far as because if he didn't know that it was going to end, then he wouldn't have had a beer in the tank, I imagine.
So essentially, I remember him brewing mid-December, and then we had our ugly sweater nights for Christmas, and then as workers, we never saw him again, really. We didn't really know what happened. But we knew there was a few things going on behind the scenes. We just didn't know exactly what it was. And it was just like, dude, life, like
It's a rough time.
yeah, like just life. And, the opportunity came for us to buy it. And then when we bought it, we found out that it was there. The beer was just sitting there.
So you
And
didn't
we're
even
like, oh,
know.
we didn't even know.
Amazing.
So
Okay.
when we bought it, we found the beer was there, and we go, wow, we have like 800 liters of this beer. That's great. It's
Perfect.
awesome.
Let's get it going.
Yeah.
Is that why you brought in some of the older
Yes.
brewers to just be like, hey, do you want to just like finish what you started type thing,
Yeah.
and just pay them to maybe just do a couple things so then you can take over?
Yeah, we have this one brewer who came in and he kind of finished the process. He added the hops we needed. He made sure it was cleared. He added his own little like flavor, like the brewer like signature, his
Yeah.
style. So he added his signature to it. And then it was ready to go. And he kegged it all. But it was funny how that worked where we inherited 800 liters of this beer. So when we went for our opening, it was like, well, we don't have to worry about that style anymore. We have it, we don't have to worry about that anymore.
That's
So
crazy.
it's funny how that worked. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very fortunate. I love that. So aesthetically on the inside, so
Yeah.
aside from all the other things, aside from the cleaning and stuff, I guess I'm
Yeah.
probably more like thinking design as
Designs.
well.
Yeah.
What not even label design, just like taproom design. Did you need to do anything much?
We did a lot. So what
Okay.
we did was so my dad, so in my basement, I have like, he built a bar,
Okay.
right, for our basement. He essentially built that bar in the brewery. So he rebuilt
Okay.
the entire bar.
Dope. So it's unique and
Yeah, so he built this entire bar. He has like a little L shape. We moved the beer fridge to behind the bar because we realized that it was just easier that way. We repainted all the walls. We changed up the paint job. We added like this whole like shiplap thing on the wall where the brewery is.
I'm looking at your website, by the way. People want to go, you can go to microbrasseriefolklore.com, and on the about page, there's a video. I'm just, as you're talking, I've just got the video on mute, watching,
Yeah,
seeing what you're talking about with the bar. It's very cool. People want to see it.
yeah, like so we did all that. We have a folklore sign over there. We have all the label like in poster form, like the one behind me, the big one behind me.
Yeah, so
We have a dartboard. Yeah, just a few things that like made sense to us.
make it warm, pubby.
Warm, pubby, kind of like where we're from, but also like we wanted a place that really screamed to what we wanted to embody, right?
Gotcha.
So we have like, we're big movie nerds. We have the movie posters up, like
Okay.
all they all say Microbrasserie Folklore presents. Like at the beginning of our labeling, we did that whole style. Microbrasserie Folklore presents, and then the name of the beer, kind of like a story, then starring the hop profile. Like
That's
that
cool.
was kind of what we wanted to do at the beginning, and that's when you start to figure out your identity. But we got them all on the posters. We put them all up. The shiplap. We wanted to really kind of make it a unique space that we wanted to really differentiate ourselves from the previous location.
Okay.
So we really did the most to kind of with the space we had and the furniture we had, create a new environment for people to come in.
I like that. And that's kind of why I was asking, because like I said to you, I think off air, like we haven't spoken to anybody on the pod before who's had a situation like this that at least I can recall. So I was really curious as to like just the mechanics of it, like the logistics, like what do you have to do? Like what happens now? So you get this space with all the equipment and a tank full of beer and you're like, fuck, now what? So like, that's what you did. Okay. That's fascinating. And I guess that's kind of part of the point. Like, I think it's really cool. What I liked the most about it was that what was sad when you hear it about a brewery closing, because obviously no one wants to hear that. The upside is that a new business is going to be able to start in the same space, in the same industry. So it's like straight, just a new brewery. So Pointe-Claire doesn't lose a brewery. It just swaps out the brand and a different approach, different vibe, different energy, which can make the difference between, surviving and not. I thought that's super cool. Okay. So then you get that all going. That takes you guys a couple months because if you open, you said May 10th, and then you got it like mid-March, so that's probably less than 2 months to come. Okay, so you got the spot. You're like, fuck. Okay, like you said, you and your dad looking at each other like, so what do we do now? What do we call it? How did the name and the concept come about?
So the original name that we wanted to do, we had a few ideas. So we have this we had a whiteboard in my dining room. We would wake up, go to the dining room, and everyone's on their computers trying to figure out like what the name's gonna be, permits, licenses, all the good stuff, all the fun stuff. It was the best. Yeah. But it was
fun, not fun, but just cool because you're doing it with your pops and your family.
Exactly.
And stuff.
Right?
I think that's the cool part.
Yeah, the coolest part is doing it with them, but the not cool part is you're dealing with the government and licenses,
particularly in Quebec.
Yeah, because it's different, right? You have to do Canada and then Quebec. You have to do both, so it's like the pain of doing one, but doing it twice.
I lived in Montreal for 10 years. I know all about it.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So, but
still the other day I'm dealing with revenue. I've moved 3 years ago,
Quebec,
and I'm still dealing with revenue. Quebec, they're strong arming us for some fucking bullshit, and it's extortion essentially. But I have no choice. Anyways, I empathize. It's revenue Quebec is
Yeah, revenue Quebec was the big one, but so we had a few names going around. We had Badger Brewing going a little bit because Badger is like a very dominant animal in the UK. We thought that'd be cool. Double B, Badger Brewing, but it sounded too pubby. We had one. We wanted Phoenix Brewing, but we thought Phoenix Brewing would have been a cool idea. Like rebirth, but at the same time, it's like different ownership. Kind of want to like be our own independent thing, right? Like,
gotcha.
Share the location, so it's already people gonna come in saying, "Wasn't this before?" And it's like, yeah, but we're different now. So we want to do that. We got the folklore because we realized that every name we came up with was a folklore.
Oh, okay.
So we realized like, what if instead of naming the brewery these folklores, we just call the beers the folklores and we just call ourselves folklore, and super simple, and that was kind of where we had a moment of like, yeah, that sounds good. That Microbrasserie Folklore makes sense. It's bilingual. You could do both, right?
Yeah.
So that was the big issue. It's just like we realized like what's Badger in French, and I don't really know what Badger. Yeah, now that I don't speak French, but like
you don't speak French. Oh, how'd you work as a bartender and not speak French?
I pretended.
Pointe-Claire. Oh, what? So I guess they're just asking for the name of the beer anyway, and you can understand enough.
And I tried. Yeah, I really tried. But like,
good for you, man.
Thank you. But then we realized like we wanted to have like a slogan, right? Like you want a good slogan to put on T-shirts. Like you guys have a great slogan. You guys have an awesome slogan. So we were like, we need a good slogan, and we realized we could just call it. Our slogan was like, "Legend in every brew." Right, and that's why every brew is now folklore. It's always a legend, and all our cans say "Legend of a Brew." Like that was kind of what we wanted. It was like it kind of just it's piecing itself together very fast, a little too well. So we were like, yeah, it makes too much sense that we're just gonna do it.
And there's so many angles when you're sort of explaining that, like of all, like you said, the Czech one. You went and just Googled and you found a Czech folklore. And then I was even thinking, like, even for one of our collabs, we did it was Australian folklore because they do monsters. And there's this Australian, indigenous Australian monster that I used to be scared of as a kid. So we named the beer after that. Like, and every culture on earth has some sort of cool, fascinating folklore. Like, you name it, everyone has it. So there's so many different angles you can go with. You'll never be starved for a name for a beer.
Exactly, right? Yeah. And like depending on the style of the beer, like the Megalodon, we're like, yeah, let's do West Coast like style hops, West Coast beer, West Coast. What do you think? Surfing, Megalodon, like. So it kind of also writes itself in a way where it's like I think the only one that was like kind of a reach was our stout, the Genie Johnston. The Genie Johnston was the only one that really you have to go deep into like a bag to find it, like Bigfoot was very point and shoot, the Moa very New Zealand hops, New Zealand, like But the Genie Johnson's a cool one because for us, it's a Canadian ship built in Quebec that was used to travel and bring famine, Irish Irish people from Ireland during the potato famine from Ireland to Montreal.
No
And
shit.
and the lore behind it is that it never lost a single soul.
Okay.
No one passed away on that ship ever. And when it sank, no one passed away during the sinking because a German ship picked them up. So
Okay.
it's the only ship in famine history that never lost a person on board, which is like in itself a folklore. And as a Canadian, Irish dry stout, Irish history, Canadian, Montreal
Perfect.
connection. It's like
Yeah.
perfect. Deep in the bag, though. Deep in the bag.
Yeah. Well, look, it gives you an excuse to tell that story to somebody at the bar, and they'd be like, "Whoa, okay, give me two of those." Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that, dude. That's sick. So then, when you opened, what did you open with?
So the opening beers we had was the Genie Johnson or Johnston, the King
The German,
Arthur, Genie Johnson, the dry stout, the
the
King
German, the one that was
Arthur,
in the tank,
the Zeitgeist, yeah, the
Zeitgeist, and that was
German,
the German Pilsner. We got this one we're drinking right now, the brown, well, English
the English brown ale,
brown.
yeah,
Yep, yeah, yeah.
that one. So with those three, we had the Bigfoot IPA, not in cans. We had the Manic Moa double IPA,
Okay,
and we had the Megalodon West Coast.
okay. So it's solid 4, 4, 5. Um, That's fun. And that was and when you opened, how was that received by the community?
Everyone who was here before Labrosse went under, they were
Hmm.
there on our opening.
I love it.
It was exactly people who missed the spot, missed the community, missed seeing the regulars that, we had a few people that came in that were regular people originally, and they came back and they're like, "Oh my God, I haven't seen you since last time we drank a beer together," and that was the stuff that really made us go, "Oh, this is why we
This
did
is
this to
needed.
begin with. This was needed." It was kind of in a weird way like healing for everyone because it was the customers were like, "Wow, I get to come back here and enjoy new beers with my friends," which I didn't think I was gonna do. So it was a very overwhelming positive day, that I'll always remember. There's something that would probably top that. It was great.
That's awesome, man. I'm really happy for you. I'm happy to hear that.
Thank
That's
you.
particularly just because the importance of just breweries as community hubs and the loss of one in a smaller place like Pointe-Claire,
Yeah.
not that Pointe-Claire is small, but there's like, is it still, there's just you and Four Origins, is that right?
Yeah. Us, Foragins, and I think the close one outside of that is Paradigm in El Peru.
Oh yeah, of course. I heard about them recently. Um, so like that's not many. So one brewery down is a big
Deal.
community loss. It's a
Yeah.
big deal.
Yeah.
Mike from Four Origins, he might have been the one to even tell me about you guys. He's been putting me on with everything that's going on out there. Um, yeah, he was sort of saying that was like it was such a big deal for them because they had their Dorval location. I know that's around the corner, and I know they used to work with Labrosse a lot. So I think when he was on the pod earlier this year, it was saying that it was a big loss, and then you guys stepping in, it was just seamless, like right back in it, like let's go. And because you still need like beer is one of those weird things where you need multiple ones in one ish area, so people can do a little run. Whereas if you just like one brewery in somewhere random, it's a little tougher to draw people out. But if you got a few of them, people spend the day. They'll still pick up a bunch of stuff. Like they'll still come in, they'll eat, and da 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 da.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. I love it. Let's do next beer.
Next beer.
What are we
Oh
thinking?
my God, what I got? What else did I give you?
Okay,
I
I can
think
tell you.
I think we should go into some Oktoberfest. You want to do the Cobalt?
I thought you'd never ask.
Yeah, some Cobalt activities.
It's called Cobalt.
Yeah, it's called Cobalt. It's the one with the little house elf on it. Cobalt.
Hang on, wait. The Festbier? I don't have
No.
Cobalt. I have the Festbier Gluck.
No, did I not give you the Heffenweiss? The one with the
No.
I did not? Oh my
No.
goodness.
I have the Dep Run Festbier.
Mm-hmm.
Have Fable #1.
Mm-hmm.
I have Bigfoot and I have Caddy.
Oh my goodness, I messed that up completely. It's my bad. Let's do Festbier then.
Let's do
I think it might be
Festbier.
mug time.
Mug time.
Dad, Festbier instead.
That's the
You
one.
can have the half. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, Glück.
He's like, oh well, I guess I'm drinking it.
Yeah, I guess you have to have the half now.
This is the one beauty of well, not the one beauty, but my personal favorite part of doing pods at this time of year is that almost everyone
Oktoberfest.
we're doing Oktoberfest. It's the best style.
Yeah,
This
for
fucking
sure.
monster of a thing. What is this like? This is a liter, right?
It's a liter, yeah. It's a liter stand.
So it's gonna be a little short, but it's okay. I was like,
Yeah.
I imagine that was your intention. Excuse me, was to drink this beer out of it.
Yeah. I got like 20 ounces though.
There you go. You're not soft.
No, of course not.
Of course not. Come on.
Oh my goodness.
Oof, look at that.
What a sensation.
It's just so it shows how cavernous this glass is when you
Big boy. It's a big
Dog,
boy.
it's the best. Look at this shit. God, it's so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, we're having a deal right now for the entire month of October. If you bought a Stein, you can bring it back and get it filled up.
You just keep the Stein, buy it, keep it.
So we had a deal where you buy a Stein, you get the beer in the Stein, you get to keep the Stein.
Mm-hmm.
But now if you bring the Stein back, you can drink out the Stein.
That's even cooler. I've
so
seen
many people have been bringing Steins.
I love that. I was in Albany on the weekend. What's the main weekend? The September 20th. So I went to a brewery there that had the same sort of deal, but I've never seen anybody offer it to bring it back and get it filled up. That's even cooler. Because this is a type of beer it's so big. It's sort of like, I guess you got to have 2 and a bit beers to kind of fill it. Yeah. So it's even cooler to be able to bring it back and then to actually kind of experience it in the brewery again. Because it's harder to use this type of thing at home as much as I imagine most people would like to.
Yeah, it's more of a novelty item, it's just put it on the shelf.
Yeah, put it on the shelf, and you can use it parts of the year, whatever. I'm sure, and it's all good. But I love it. Well, with that, I need to try this beer, man, brother. Cheers, legend.
Cheers, yeah.
Great nose. Money. So this, I feel like this is almost like it's like a bit darker for a fest beer. It's kind of almost like it's not quite Marzen level or Märzen, whatever. Was that the intention with the styles to do a little bit? Because I've seen across the board, I go pretty crazy with fest beers, and I've seen all the different things. Sometimes people specifically say this is a little darker for a fest beer, blah, 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 and I didn't know what the baseline was until last year. I had all the German ones finally.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, okay. So it's sort of like just like a slightly darker like lager, whereas like a Märzen, whatever, it's darker than this. But yeah, what was the intention when you were doing this one, man?
So it was kind of like when we started making it, we were thinking about making because like you said, it's kind of like a darker lager, but we realized that if we give it more of those caramelly kind of malty flavors like a Marzen has, you can almost in a weird way meet in the middle.
Right.
And that was kind of the intention. We wanted to have a fest beer that met in the middle, that was, if you liked your Marzens and you're like, oh, they don't have a Marzen, well, try the fest beer. You'd probably get the same kind of vibe that you would get from a Marzen. Or if you're really into the fest beer, so you can say, wow, there's an interesting take on a fest beer that I might not have expected,
Love it.
Right? And that was kind of what we wanted to do. We wanted to, we wanted to hit every single demographic we possibly could, So if you can't make a Marzen and a fest beer, meet somewhere in the middle so both parties can enjoy.
Totally get it. Love it, man. And thank you for explaining that. That's great. I like that approach because it's sort of like some people might not want that full extra malty Märzen, but they, maybe the fest beer is not as. I still think that they're pretty well differentiated, but you could argue they're pretty close to, standard kind of like a Czech lager or whatever, German lager. So this is great. This is super fun. Was there any specific malts or hops in this one?
So this one, we stuck to, I believe, Saza Columbus.
Saza Columbus, okay.
Saza Columbus. I don't think we did anything insane with it. I think we added a little bit of Munich Type 2 So like the stereotypical, you have your Pilsner malt, and then you put the Munich Type 2 in. I think we had a little bit of rice husk, I
Okay.
think, but that was kind of the overall because it was super. We wanted to have it super light, like a lager, right? But we
Okay.
wanted to make sure we had those caramel notes. So we had to make sure we get our hops and our darkening malts right.
Gotcha. And it's definitely got that toffee and caramel, as you said there. It's got a nice little like I'm just taking the notes as you're saying it there, like a nice grassy bitterness, but
Mm-hmm.
it's much more restrained than say the Czech lager that we had
Mm-hmm.
before. Um, what else am I tasting this? Nice and bready,
Mm-hmm.
a little toasty almost.
Yeah, I get a lot of. Nick always says he gets a little bit of orange and marmalade,
Okay.
which I find it's like I didn't notice it. Then I was told that. Then I started drinking. I go, okay, I can see it. I can see the orange marmalade. I can definitely pick it out.
Now you said it. Yes, it's very subtle,
Mm-hmm.
and but it works with that caramel malt kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Like
Um,
like an orange toffee kind of thing.
orange toffee. Yeah, I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, man, this is glorious. I love this shit. Um, did you when did you brew this? Was it like did this have a long lagering time?
This, I like to think that we did this one last. So we made 3 Oktoberfest beers.
Okay.
Well, beers are released during Oktoberfest. One of them is we'll have is the Caddy West Coast collab with InnoMalt. The one that I thought I sent you, but I didn't. I don't know how I didn't. I should have.
That's okay.
The Hef
That's fine.
beer.
Yep.
And then the Fest beer. The
Okay.
Fest beer, I believe, was the last one. I think it was, if Oktoberfest was the 4th of October, I would like to say we made it maybe the 10th of September, around the beginning
Okay.
of September.
Okay.
So, yeah, it had not a long time, but it had like maybe 2 weeks
2 weeks in to lager.
in to lager. Yeah.
Okay. I guess that wouldn't be you if you had your way. Would you have if you were
Made it
able to?
earlier.
Yeah, made it earlier. I guess.
Yeah, I would have had a long time. Like I would have done maybe a
Hmm.
month and a bit. I
I
think I
guess it's like
think
hard
at
to
that
plan all that.
point, yeah, I think
Yeah.
at that point, like we were getting to the point where we had to figure out one, what styles we wanted to do, but two, we had a lot of tanks filled,
Okay.
and we were waiting to get them canned, so we didn't have a lot of space. So we brewed, and then we had the fest beer left, and we were like, "Uh-oh, we don't have space for this. We have to
Turn it in 2 weeks.
we have to wait. We have to wait to get when the canning can happen. The canning happened, and I think we brewed the next day. I think that was 2 very long days for me.
I can only imagine for this sort of style.
Yeah,
So it's okay. I totally get it. So like, if you did it, if you're going to do it next year,
yeah.
would you like do it like because Märzen's are supposed to be brewed in March, I guess, which seems very insane, but apparently, um, would you do them a bit earlier and get because I don't know. I guess it would. I imagine I don't know what's the optimal time? Like 8 weeks?
I don't know. I would like to say, yeah, 8 weeks makes sense.
Yeah, like I guess it depends who you ask because everyone kind of has different things. That's why I wasn't sure if there was like a um, BJCP or whatever. Maybe not that's the wrong thing, but like for this style, you need to lager it for X amount of time, type of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, that's So what was that? Sorry, you did this one. You did the Hefeweizen. What was the other
This
Oktoberfest one?
the Hefeweizen, and then we had the West Coast collab with InnoMalt
Oh, that was the Westie.
that I
Okay.
gave you. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So we'll do that shortly. Okay,
Mhm.
sick. Did you do any Oktoberfest events or anything?
We had an Oktoberfest. We had a weekend event. So we did Friday, Saturday. We had live music, and Sunday, and we had an Oktoberfest menu throughout. And we had a couple of deals where you get the Stein and a beer for $20. So you can come in, or you can get like the food with the Stein and the beer. You get the Stein. We had a few things like that. And honestly, the turnout was like opening day level turnout every day, which
Interesting.
we were not expecting.
Okay.
Like we sat there and we were like, wow, because when we scheduled our like shifts, we had a few like okay, it'd be a low time, Sunday evening, and it's like I've got 40 people here Sunday evening. I need help.
Oh, you're by yourself?
No, we had someone who was working
Yeah,
at that
people.
by themselves, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I gotta come hang out, But
Jeez. Hey,
luckily I
that's a
live
good
close,
problem to
but
have, man.
it's
That's
a great
great.
problem to have,
Yeah. It's I noticed. Tell me if you felt the same way. I was saying this to Nate, my co-host who you met,
Mhm.
that this year I feel like there's been more Oktoberfest events than I've ever seen before, and I don't know if I'm like making that up or not, but it feels like everywhere I look, doesn't matter the type of brewery, doesn't matter if you're a crispy brewery, doesn't matter if you're a haze brewery or Belgian brewery, there's Oktoberfest events everywhere. Everyone's doing Stein holding competitions, pretzels, fucking bratwurst, all
Yeah.
that stuff. Have you? And there seems to be a renewed interest in it. Like people are amped for it, which you basically just described. Have you noticed that as well?
I noticed that, like, again, like, I'm relatively new-ish to the craft beer scene, so I was never really following.
To
But
compare it to another year.
yeah, to compare it. But I did notice last year when I was working as a bartender, I would see other people having like Oktoberfest events. This year there were a lot more. This
Okay.
year it was a lot of like specialty beers, like you said, the bratwurst and pretzel and like the steins, the outfits, the Litos and all that stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's definitely something that I'm seeing a lot more of. But I think it's kind of in the same realm of like St. Patrick's Day comes around and people like we have a day we can go drinking. I think it's kind of in the same realm of
That's a
that
good
for
point.
Oktoberfest, where it's like
Yeah.
we want a reason to go out and celebrate and get together with friends. It's almost like an excuse to go see friends,
Right.
and I love it. I absolutely love it. So everyone's doing it. People all coming together. I think it's great.
I hadn't thought of it that way. That's a really, really good point. It's like it's almost like it's like culturally hit a point where when I say culturally, like beyond craft beer culture or whatever, like just I imagine there'll be other businesses aside from breweries, like pubs or whatever, that would be having Oktoberfest events. So it's like, yeah, it just seems like maybe it's just hit this cultural like tipping point where like everyone's like, all right, like people lose their minds in March for St. Patty's. So it's like, all
Yeah.
right, well, same shit. Fuck, that's a good point, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an excuse for people to come together and actually hang out, have a couple of drinks.
I wonder if that's like a swing back from COVID because I was like in 2022, I remember that's when everything opened up again, but people were very hesitant to do
Yeah.
stuff for a little bit. And it felt like this summer was the first time it felt like the closest to pre-COVID than in 5 years, I guess, right? More than 5 years,
No.
actually 6 years because it'll be
Oh my god,
2019.
yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's definitely a cause, like not a cause, but an effect of COVID, where it's like COVID happened, people have to be inside, missing all these events, missing important milestones, and now you would take any excuse just to see like family and loved ones. So if it's Oktoberfest, we'll get a pretzel and a drink, and we get to talk, and then we leave, and it's a Friday or Saturday or Sunday, but you've done it, you did it, you celebrated Oktoberfest, you would really there to see family and friends and stuff, and
Totally.
that's what's really cool.
But it's centered around some form
Of holiday.
of holiday, of celebration, of something that's discernible for the holiday, meaning a fest beer, a Mazen, a bratwurst in a bun, a pork schnitzel, a fucking pretzel,
Yeah.
all that type of stuff. Like the Stein holding things, the other different
Yeah.
dances, the clothing. Like there's like you think of St. Patrick's Day and you think of the green stuff and the green beers and the Guinness and all that stuff. So it's a similar thing, just a German version. I like that a lot. I just feel like that's a really cool comparison, and it's like I wonder if it's like things like that are what like from what I understand, like just in general things are down. Obviously the economy's in an interesting spot. People are hurting a little bit. People aren't always going out as much as they could, but if you have a special event like that,
Something that isn't normal. Like
that
that's
isn't
something that
normal.
isn't you like, for example, like are you gonna go drinking at your local every Friday? No, but they have a special menu with different beers. I'm inclined now, you know, but that's what's sick.
Right. And Oktoberfest is across the board. So even if you want to go, and like, it's not only just one weekend. Like the weekend I went away was I think whatever was the 20th, September 20th, I think was the Saturday when everything started. So we went out there and it was like, all right, sick. Like it was cool. Like it was cool to see that. And then now I've noticed that it hadn't stopped. And every places kept, some of them continued to do Oktoberfest like basically non-stop for like a month, and then other
Yeah.
places would do it for that one weekend. Some places did it just each weekend, and
Yeah.
it was like, so it allows people to continue that. And then maybe because it's drawn out, like in Germany, in Munich it's drawn out, so if places over here mimic that, it's like it gives all the breweries, say, because we're specifically talking about breweries, like an opportunity for people to come by, which is
Yeah.
pretty sick, because you go to you go to Folklore one weekend, the next night you go to another place, next weekend you go to another place, and you just kind of like, all of it contributes, I guess, to people wanting to continue.
Yeah, and like as a brewery owner, but as a consumer, it hurts my wallet. Because it's every week. Like you said, like Scott did his. Like luckily I was out of town, so my wallet was saved. But if I wasn't, I would have done Lugarus, I would have been Mazoms, Brewskis, Melons. I would have been all over the
Everywhere.
place. Like kind of walkies. I would have spent so much money. You know? But
Which, for better or worse,
for better or worse, you know, help the community, help your friends, right? You know?
yeah. And it's cool to see, like, yeah, everyone embrace it, both as a consumer side and the breweries who have all the different, like, Lugaru is doing a lot of lagers, so it makes sense. Meso doesn't do, they do a lot of lagers, but still they're more known for other stuff. But for them to do it is kind of cool. So like, I like hearing that. That makes me happy. So I'm happy to hear that you guys are doing it, and that hopefully next year you do it even bigger and continue it. Because I guess right now, if you went into this whole thing with, I don't want to say not a plan, but like, because it happened so quickly, so you had to kind of figure a lot of stuff out on the fly.
Yeah.
How was that experience for you guys? Like, was that something that you liked, or do you think that moving forward you'd be like, now, okay, as soon as it gets into the slow time, which is probably coming up soon, then you're like, all right, now let's fucking plan for 2026 and let's map out, okay, what are we doing for St. Patty's? What are we doing for May 24? What are we doing for St. Jean? What are we doing for Canada Day?
Like, kind of, like you said it, like you go into this, like the low season, and then it's like, okay, so now what? You actually have time to wrap your head around the situation and wrap your head around what's going on. And we've been so go, 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 brew all the time. Now you go into that low season and it's like, okay, well, now what? And what I'm doing first and foremost is I'm thinking about an anniversary already. I'm already starting to think about the anniversary, because that's in May. So I'm like, okay, well, try to line up some cool things for that. That'd be kind of cool. So I have to start working on that now, because I know other people are going to be brewing. I have to schedule me in, So I got to make sure.
Collabs and all that, yeah.
Exactly, right? Like the merch, collabs, what styles you want to do, St. Patrick's Day, all that stuff. Like, now we actually have time to think. And it's nice, because I haven't been able to do that for a long time.
Yeah, I bet. Basically, since March, it sounds like you've been kind of non-stop. That's 7 months. Like,
yeah, that's 7 months non-stop. Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot, but I mean, look, hopefully you can still keep it busy throughout the slow season. Yeah, but also like plan ahead, and then you'll be able to do. I mean, I feel like not your situation seems out of the ordinary, I would say. Is that fair?
I would say it's fair, yeah.
People don't get like a week notice to be like, hey, we're buying a brewery, and like, oh fuck, we didn't have a business plan, nothing. Like,
yeah, a week notice and then brew 6 beers in a month. It's not a normal situation that we've done.
Not in
but we made it work, right?
You made it work, and it sounds like obviously the community's been loving it, and it's going. Overall, how do you feel then? Actually, that's probably a better question. How do you and your dad and the team, like, how do y'all feel about, if you stop for a second, we're sitting here talking about it tonight, which is probably something that you haven't really had that much of a chance to do either, is to sit here and tell the story and to do that. How do you feel about everything? Like,
well, the first thing I would think is I gotta pee, but the second thing I would think is
we can pause.
No, I know. I'm just thinking the second thing would be, I think that it's something that we didn't expect. It's been like an absolute whirlwind, blindsided kind of crazy roller coaster. And people say that it sounds very like cliche, but it is something that is very special to me, especially as someone who wanted to be in the pub scene, someone who wanted to be a part of a community and get back to the community and actually do things to make people happy, and have a space that no matter who you are, you can come in and feel welcomed and feel included. The feedback we're getting back is we're doing that, and that is something that I'm very happy about. And people enjoying the beer, but most importantly, people are coming in and feeling welcomed, and that's what I wanted. So it's reassuring to know that you're doing the right thing and you're doing it relatively well. That's something that's really nice.
Hell yeah, man. Love to hear that. That's beautiful. All right, let's pause for a sec, and we'll be right on back. All right, Joe.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, mate.
We are back. Where were we? I don't remember. We were talking about, planning for next year and stuff. Yes.
The schedule.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, the schedule. The anniversary stuff is pretty cool. I don't know. I know you probably don't want to say too much ahead of time. Are you thinking like a bunch of being that actually, this is kind of maybe a question about that, plus also in general, like typically anniversaries, a lot of breweries, as you know, as now a fan of beer, craft beer,
yes.
typically revolve around a lot of collabs and stuff like that. Beer is community, the beer industry is community. I mean, is that, first of all, first part of the question, is that something that's interesting to you? Oh, the resolution's back, by the way. We're good.
Amazing.
We were right. We don't come back. Is that something that's interesting to you for the anniversary? You don't have to say too much on that specifically.
My goodness. I think for the anniversary, like from a consumer standpoint, dude, I love a good collab. It got to the point where like I would buy so many collab beers from brewers I never even heard of. I'm like, man, these two guys got together. I'll try it,
Let's go.
And like I went like Mazorum's recent anniversary. Their collabs were like insane. The Brew Host collab, like they had some crazy stuff. I went with Nick, and that was great. Yeah, they were phenomenal. All my friends, Rob, doing all those collabs with Friendsgiving, the Québécois one.
Oh yeah,
Tous mes amis or whatever it was called.
Yeah. Nos amis québécois. Yeah.
Nos amis québécois. All those fantastic, right? I have the recent Friendsgiving order. It's on its way. My friend picked it up. He's gonna go drop it off to me, but I'm excited to try them. But
hell yeah, I've heard the
collabs. Yeah, I had the same. The collabs are, I think, for me, a fundamental part of an anniversary. But I think they're a fundamental part of like just the brewing community. Like you said, like it is a community. So what we did when we started and we opened is we took road trips. We try to hit as many brews as we can to introduce ourselves. Because we want, like, the thing for us was we wanted to be friends with everyone, like we want to be friends with everyone. We want to get to know everyone. And that was kind of a big reason why we came to see you guys,
Right.
like
everyone in one place.
Yeah, like no, but not just that. It's like I didn't know your podcast very well, but my friend Nick did. So Nick was like, okay, we're gonna meet so many people in the industry, but we're gonna go drink beers at this event. It's gonna be sick. And I'm like, okay, cool. So we went and we got to meet a lot of cool people. But it was like we want to be part of the community. We want to introduce ourselves to people. We want to be like, hey, we're the folklore guys, like Sir John, Noctem, who were at your event, like Blood Brothers, like guys, like we make beer too, like we want to introduce ourselves and, create these, be part of the community. And honestly, like the best part about the community so far is that how accepting they are.
They're very cool, though.
They're so cool, so accepting. Like I've seen Simon from Sir John like 3 to 4 times now.
Oh, he's the best. Simon's
he's
awesome.
The nicest dude.
He's so drunk. He was fucked up at TFA.
Always. But you know what? He's the
I love that guy.
He's the coolest dude. Like we went to go see him. Like we went, my dad, myself, Nick, and Dan, who was one of the brewers here.
I remember I met Dan years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. He.
hang on, wait, Dan from Grave Digging Bros?
No. Dan from
The original
Labrosse.
Labrosse. Okay, I
Yeah.
remember. Okay, I swear I met him like when we first did the pod in like 2018 with Labrosse.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
So
yeah.
he was the one that saved the German Pilsner actually. But anyways,
Shouts to
but
Dan.
yeah, but so we went and we saw and we were like, yo, like you guys are planning for your anniversary, like what are you guys thinking? And he goes, oh, let me show you. We go on the back, like, second time we've ever met. We go on the back. He's like, try this. What do you think? You like that? Okay, cool. Try this. What do you think? Yeah, you think it's good? Okay, cool. I'm gonna give you a can of each before you guys leave. You guys don't have to pay for anything. I'm like, dude, this is like the nicest dude ever. But he's like you said, he's been drinking.
He's been drinking.
But he's also the coolest dude ever, and you can tell how knowledgeable he is. You can
Oh
tell
yeah,
how passionate he is, right?
yeah.
And that's the recurring theme that I've always met with everyone is everyone's so passionate and they
Mm.
care so much, right? So like when we went to the Mazom anniversary and like they invited us into the back and we went to the back and we saw the guys from Sir John again, and like the Grave Digging Bros and then Lou and all those guys and Gab from Mezzo. And they were like, "Oh, so like you guys are the new? Oh, we've heard of you guys. You're so like they're so welcoming. Like, hey, come on, let's go check it. Come on, can I show you around? Have you been back here before? No. That's the community
That's
I
awesome.
like. But the thing of it is like I feel like we haven't been around long, but we did the effort to come see everyone, and I feel like that's been acknowledged and they've gone, okay, they were trying, and that's cool. And so when it comes to the collabs for our anniversary, honestly, like we have a lot more work to do. We have to go see a lot more people, but
Yeah,
I don't think it's too crazy to think that there is a couple of cool things that people can look forward to for sure.
that's awesome, man. And I think you're 100% right that you are putting in the work and it's being recognized, and the fact that you're turning up at all the places, and the fact that you when you came to see us, you went. I know you went because we were talking. You went to All My Friends, and you went to, I think, Slake, and you
Oh,
went to a
we
bunch
went
of
so many
places.
places. Yeah.
Yeah, and you went and introduced yourself, and you brought beer for everybody, and like the way that you guys handled yourselves, I thought that was just super dope. And you came up, and like I was pretty stressed at our event, to be honest. I'm not. That was not my. I'm not built for events. It's not my vibe. But I'm happy we did it. But it was cool to kind of meet. I didn't get to talk to because all the problems. Oh, my camera's frozen, motherfucker.
I was gonna say.
Okay, let me. If I go at that, maybe I do the same as what we're doing off
Let's
air.
see.
Let's see. No. Oh, you know what? I did this
Same
recently.
thing.
Let me turn it off from the actual camera itself. Um, you can still hear me though.
Mhm.
Um, here we go. Come on.
EOS webcam utility. I used to use that long time
Yeah, it's
ago.
like
Yeah.
it does the thing. It's still good. It's just
Pretty
right now.
good.
It did this the other week. Here we go. We got it there.
Yeah.
Just gotta turn this shit off. I don't know why. What was I saying? Um,
When we came to see you guys.
came to see us. Yeah, I just like appreciated the way you guys like it. Like, hey man, because I knew the brewery. Like I was absolutely aware of what you guys were doing. I'd heard about it. I try to keep. It's my job, I guess, to keep up on what's happening, right?
Yeah.
Particularly in Quebec and Ontario at the very least. So I was aware of you guys. I was like, oh shit, okay. And your dad Nick was super cool. Didn't get to talk for very long. Be like, hey man, I just want to say hi. We're here. Here's some beer for you and Nate, and here's some for the Blood Brothers. I was like, fuck yeah. So I put it out back for them and stuff. And I thought that was like super smart of you guys to be doing that in such early days. You wouldn't have been open like 3 weeks at that time. And the fact
Yeah.
that you took the time, spent the money, drove down, hotels, the whole thing, like to me, I was like, oh, that is such a good look. Like it's really good. You gave me a card. That's how I contacted you as well. I was like, hey man, I'd love to have you on the pod, even though I told you there. I think that was on, but giving all of those things, just wanted to tell you because I didn't get to speak to you enough that I really appreciate the way you handled yourself and all three of you. I just like because I like to have a family business. I like that your dad introduced himself and he was mad cool. I was like, oh, sick. Okay, so this is like these guys are doing it together. That they're traveling together doing it, and that you're like, hey man, here's my card. Keep in touch. Like I was like, man, it was so professional and it was quick, but it was really professional. And it was like, all right, already. I was like, oh yeah, I'm ready when you're ready. And I just reached out during the summer. I took a little bit to get in touch with you, but yeah, I thought that was really smart. Because it is about that, and collabs are like, and that's why I was sort of asked about it, and I'm asking as well also because it was such the context that you've given us tonight, where everything was so rapid and so like whoa, like it hits you so quick, and you're like, oh fuck, now I got to figure all this out. That potentially that might not have been on your mind at the beginning of March type shit before you got the place, and now all of a sudden you're like, now I got to figure out craft beer.
Yeah.
But collabs are such a phenomenal way, like you were saying, you just go and buy them if you see two breweries collab, but there's such a great awareness play between breweries and other entities, not only just like, that's why we're doing collabs, so that's another thing, people with creators or whatever, or media. Then you got like other local businesses you could collab with that would make sense. Maybe there's a bakery and you could use their bread in the mash or something like that. Like all these different ways to sort of tap into the community is via that collaborative method of approaching it. And the fact that as well, I thought, because you're from England, which I'm learning tonight. I'm from Australia. I lived in Toronto, then I lived in Montreal. Now I'm here in Hamilton. I was in Montreal after being in Toronto. I'm like, why is nobody like focusing on the other province? It's right there. There's so many opportunities. Like if you're in Montreal, you're doing some killer shit. Go to Kingston, go to Toronto, go to London, go to Barrett, wherever the breweries are out there, and go to Ottawa.
Yeah.
And make some stuff happen. And to see a brand new Quebec brewery do that, I was like, fucking awesome.
That's the thing that we really want. Like that was a big moment for us, that whole event that you guys had, because we really sat on it, because it was like, is it worth us going? We drove it, so it was like, was it worth the wake up at 6 a.m. on a Saturday to get there?
You drove that morning before.
So we woke up at 6 a.m. We got in the car, we drove together, we hit Badlands by noon.
Jesus.
Because I believe it was their anniversary.
It was their select event.
So we hit the select event, saw Troy. Then we went afterwards to see you guys, I believe. Yeah, you guys.
Yeah.
We did the Moon. We did you guys, Blood Brothers for dinner, hit Bellwoods, and then hit Burdock, which was right next to where we were staying. And we hit all those breweries. The next day we hit Dune Hopper, Slake, All My Friends.
Money.
And it was like, we were back by 6 p.m. on Sunday.
Jesus.
6 a.m. Saturday, 6 p.m. Sunday, we were back.
That's a whirlwind.
Yeah.
36 hours straight.
Yeah. And it was like a lot of like meeting people, talking to people. Here's my card. Like, luckily, we saw Rob and Colin at your event.
So you had to meet them and already set that up?
Yeah. So we were like, oh, yeah, like, we're going to be by tomorrow. And he goes, Rob's like, I'll try to be there tomorrow. Like, I'm staying the night with Colin. I'm trying to make it back. We saw Rob, we didn't see Colin because we went Colin first.
Okay.
Dune Hopper. But it was a moment where we were like, this could be a big deal. Like, if we went, this could be a big thing for us. Introducing ourselves so early on, like, people can, like, we didn't know what to expect, because it could be like, oh, you guys haven't really released anything. Are you guys even like good at what you're doing? Like, we don't know. But the response we got was so overwhelmingly positive. Like you said, like Simon, the guys from Noctum, Colin, and Rob, like the reason why they're called All My Friends, right? They're the nicest people. Colin's the nicest dude ever. Like, super, super kind, super, super generous.
Yeah, awesome.
Super helpful as well. Like, we had so many questions for them, and they were just so willing to help us and give us the answers to the questions we were looking for as a new business, as a new brewery, from a perspective of they did it before, like they were inside our shoes. So it was like, they know what we're asking. They've had to figure out themselves. So they had the answers. They're like, yeah, we can help you kind of fast track this learning curve and get you guys really into the deep end already,
I love that panned out for you. It made me very happy, because that was kind of what we wanted to achieve with the event, was to bring people together to just hang out, because there wasn't really like festivals and all that stuff kind of stopped for a bit. So like, here's like just an opportunity to celebrate craft beer, and hopefully everyone can come through and connect and mingle a little bit and do that. So I like just seeing that. And I think the fact that you had such a positive response, I think, is kind of from that, like, oh, you guys are this new and you bothered to come all this way to do that. All right, what's up, man? Like, because I think more than anyone, breweries can empathize with the fact that you are locked ball and chain to a physical space.
Yeah.
Like it's I own a digital agency. I can be anywhere and do our shit, where you
Mhm.
have to be at your space. So I think they're very empathetic to be like, oh man, like you left all that stuff for a bit to come out here and to do all this. And I think that's I think that's really good look, man. I think it's great. And the fact that you dropped beer off as well, though, it was like, hey, look, try it. You were just like, just here it
Tell us
is.
what you think.
Yeah, if you get a sec to try, you just like, I think that's a really good move. Because it wouldn't,
Mhm.
even if you look at the ROI on just the marketing money that you would have invested into a couple cases of like dishing out beer to some folks,
Mhm.
pretty decent.
Yeah.
Pretty decent overall. Like I would say that at the very least, building those relationships, then one, you got someone you could ask questions to, two, could result in collabs or other opportunities.
Yeah.
Maybe they're doing an event and they think of you for an event that they're doing. Hey man, you want to bring your stuff out and come to our event or whatever,
Mhm.
So many things that can happen from that.
Yeah, and it was very we've been multiple times since that event to other places because that was
Good.
my first ever beer event, right?
Okay.
Like ever. So I've never been to a beer event before. I went to you guys' event, and it was like weird because I was like, oh wait, it's like when you're a fan and you see something and you go, oh my god, is that guy from that place? I'm like, dude, I saw Simone. I'm like, dude, it's Simone from St. John. I'm like, oh my god, and I'm like, dude, that's Rob from all my friends. I was putting things together. I was like, oh wait, like I'm a part of the community now. I can go talk to these guys. I can go be like,
Yeah.
hey guys, what's up? And it was like a weird, very fast learning curve in that moment where I was like, yeah, I can actually talk to these guys, not as like a fan of their beer and product, but as a fan of their beer and product, but also as a peer within the community as someone who makes beer as well. So that was definitely interesting. But that event was by far one of the coolest things I've ever been to. That was really sick. That was
Thanks,
awesome
man.
from top to
That's
bottom.
appreciate you.
But also like it was just so eye-opening for us as new business owners going, wow, this is the community we're actually going into. This is a very unique situation where it's people are so positive, going, oh my God, you guys are these guys. Oh my, if you need anything, let us know. And that's not even close to what I was expecting.
Huh.
It was a lot of pleasant surprises on that day, that was for sure. And the day
That's
after as
cool,
well.
man. Yeah, shit, bro. I love that. That's fantastic to hear that it worked out, and I feel like that's like such a great way to sort of sell that if breweries haven't taken the time, because a lot of people are so busy they don't always take that time. And you looked at it whereas like we're so new, we have no choice but to go out and we got to connect with the community, or what's the point of doing this? So you did the right. I think you did the right thing, and I'm very very happy to hear that it was worth it for you guys,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to see some stuff because it's also market research. So all like
Yeah.
networking, cool, like for multiple reasons, but like you kind of got to know what's going on in the province just next to you, and you already knew the places to go, so you went to all the right places, like
Yeah.
and you barely scratched the surface, but you went to the right places.
Yeah, like I grew up going to Sandbanks, right? So like back in the day, I don't know if the breweries were around back in the day, like in the early 2000s, but like probably not.
There might have been some, but
No.
it wouldn't have been anything.
Yeah, so like it was a winery place, but like now going back to the same place I grew up going to, but now there's like Picton has so many breweries.
Dude, even just the three you went to plus Matron, just they're all less than 10 minutes from each other.
Oh
Obviously
yeah,
Matron and all my friends are
Matron.
like
Then there's
30
like five by
seconds.
five Parsons, great location.
Yep.
Those guys. Like, and it's so cool because like we went for that event, then we went in June, then I went again in August.
Okay.
So it's like I've been 3 times since we've opened, and I've dropped off beers 3 different times since we've opened.
That's
And each
awesome.
time it's like a different situation. The last time I went, like Rob was brewing in the back at a time. He gets a beer, comes sits down with next to me, goes, "You want to go see something cool?" I'm like, "I'll go see something cool." And I was with my girlfriend, and she was talking to a friend from school because went to school in Kingston, and they
Okay.
were talking, and she was like looking over, and I'm just in the back smelling hops, hanging out, and I was just like in my own little like playground. I was like, "Oh my god, this is insane," because it was almost in a weird way like I don't know what the word is, but like you kind of look from the perspective and you go, do I belong in this situation? Where like I've been around for like 5 months, and like I'm in the back in this brewery I've been to 3 to 4 times. It's my favorite brewery in Canada, and it's like I'm here and I'm smelling hops, and I'm like watching him brew, and he's giving me things out the tank, and I'm like, I've never experienced this before. Like, what did I do to do this? What did I do? But it was such a cool, welcoming experience that I'm so grateful that we got to experience. It was really cool.
That's sick, bro. That makes me very happy to hear that you've been able to even leverage that even further now and take it from there. And like, have you had any talks, from what you can say, you don't have to say who or anything, from all of this sort of like different travels, have you had any talks, not even just about collabs, but just doing stuff with a bunch of the folks that you've connected with, whether it's in Quebec or Ontario or wherever?
We haven't really talked about doing stuff together because I think for me it was just kind of I want to create a connection that wasn't just business perspective first, because I remember talking to the grave digging bros,
Yes.
and then they were always saying the same thing. It's like you want to be friends with the people you work with, like you want to have a friendship. So like if they want the help, if they want your help or vice versa, you're more inclined to do it. You're more inclined to be like, you need help, I'll be there because we're friends, not business connected with friends.
Gotcha.
So for us, it was before we even pitched the idea of doing something or whatever, let's actually drink some beers together. Let's actually hang out. Let's have a good time, create this connection and bond. And then when time comes, we'll see. But there's definitely a few places that I feel we could definitely make some cool stuff together. That's for sure.
Fuck yeah, dude. I love it. Love to hear it. That's a really like intelligent approach, rather than kind of like, nothing, I was gonna say come across as like thirsty or whatever, but like you want to be sort of like, you want it to be like, you look at each other like, yeah, we should do something, as opposed to sort of like pitching and be like, oh hey, yeah. And that's the way, even for our anniversary stuff, for the collabs, even if we're talking about that, like we didn't really talk to anyone that we didn't already have a relationship with. It was all like people we knew and respected, and we're like, bro, we're doing this thing, we'd love to have you. If it's a fit, let's go. And it was like a 95% strike rate as far as like yes, and all the ones you couldn't, some people just couldn't fit it in to the schedule. And it worked out well, but I think it was from doing exactly what you're talking about. We didn't ask shit from anybody until we were like, hey, this is a larger thing, we'd love to have you part of it if it's interesting, type of thing. And then it's like, all right, yeah, fuck yeah. So if you're doing something for an anniversary, like, and you put yourself out there and got to go and build with these people, then it's definitely going to be a more positive outcome for that. I love it.
I agree. It was definitely it was definitely nice to be able to sit there and actually feel like people coming up to us and being like, "Oh my God, guys, it's so nice to see you," And I was like, "We've met twice," But it's like at least I know we've connected created some type of rapport, and they remembered, like, "Oh my God, how was that thing you told me about?" I'm like, "Yeah, you're right." That was definitely the moment where it kind of hit me. I was like, "Oh, okay." So like everything we've been doing has been working. Everything we've been doing is, creating these connections that isn't just work related, and it is something that is like real connections and friendships that in a community that is so cool, where everyone is so cool. Like you want to be friends with everyone because everyone's so sick.
So true though.
Like everyone's so cool. Like everyone I haven't met anyone that I've gone, I don't know. Everyone's been so cool. Everyone's been so sick. So yeah, so it's nice seeing that like the hours you spent driving to these places and all that stuff has kind of been met with a similar gratitude, where you guys can meet in the middle and talk business now. You hit the point now where you could talk business as like, maybe we should, like you said, like maybe we should do something instead of pitching. Be like, hey, like what if we did something? That's like you said, it's a different kind of
natural.
It's natural. It's a natural fit. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're doing it. You're approaching it the right way. I love it, dude. That's amazing.
Thanks,
we keep. I know we should get to the next beer because
for sure
we're yapping a lot, but it's a good convo. What are we feeling?
I think we're talking about collabs, dude. We should do the Caddy.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go.
Okay.
I'm gonna go grab it. Now.
You go grab it. I'll show
Yeah,
it
I'll
on
go grab
screen.
it. Yeah, for sure.
All right. So this is an old school West Coast IPA. The nice little fucking dragon on there that I'm sure Alex will describe for us. And this is a collab with InnoMalt, which he will confirm. But if I'm not, I know the name. I'm pretty certain they are. Oh, okay. InnoMalt from Sherbrooke. This is all in French. I think they're just a malt company. When I say just, not just a malt company, but Quebec local malt. And it's funny. I used to always be able to read. I need glasses for distance. So when I'm now, these ones are a little stronger. I can't fucking read. I feel like I'm like 80. I gotta like look over the top to see what's on there. So it looks like it's got Strata, Cashmere, and Chinook hops. And fuck yeah, bro, let's do it. A little Westy, old school Westy. So I'm expecting a nice little, like maybe more of an amber malt from this one. But let's see. Yeah, there you go. Old school Westy. Maybe probably quite aggressive on the old what do you call it? Excuse me. Bitterness. Ooh, wow, that is sticky caramel. God damn. Yeah, I feel like you don't see as much of the old school Westies as we used to. I know there was a cool collab that Sankiem and Boreal did. I think it was this year, where they did an old school and a new school. They did two. It was cool to have them like side by side, two different approaches. InnoMalt is a local malting, whatever you call it, right?
It's a local malting company. They're from Sherbrooke.
Okay, that's. I was just reading the can, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I've heard of them before. So I
Yeah.
wanted to confirm 100%.
They did a collab with Back Canada not too long ago.
Okay, and they just so okay. So this is like a nice hyper local Quebec ingredient type shit.
Yeah, this is a good old fashioned Quebec malting company. Yeah.
Okay, love it, and it's a old school West Coast IPA.
Yeah.
In the sense of that caramel malt, that amber kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
Oh, the head is amazing. Brother, get that in you. Cheers.
Cheers, man.
There she is. It's like 2011 again.
I was going to say.
Here for it.
Yeah.
And if the can is correct, fuck, what was it? Here it is. Strata, Cashmere, and Chinook.
Yep.
Fucking boom. And the Folklore 13, does this mean the 13th release, or is this like a
13th release?
Okay, so you just sort of counting that through. Okay, I like that. That's smart.
Is that no, it's the 13th Folklore. So we have the Folklores, and then we're gonna have one-offs. Like the Dep Run is not let's say like a folklore. It's kind of more like a Quebecois culture thing.
Okay,
Like
that makes sense.
Like a dépanneur.
Yeah, of course.
So
Yeah,
like a corner store. So like
for the people who don't know, yes.
Yes, but like so that's it. So our folklores are based off the folklores, and then we'll have one-offs like a Dep Run or another beer that's gonna be coming out soon that we made. We made an IPA that I was trying to find a folklore for, and I can't find a folklore for. So
Okay.
I think I'm just gonna call it something that's not a folklore. Put it into the other category. We'll have the folklores, not folklores. But yeah, so this one was really cool when we made it because it was. InnoMalt was I never heard of InnoMalt when I was starting, like when we were starting brewing. Like I didn't know who InnoMalt was. I was doing a interview, and they're like, "Oh, like we know the owners of InnoMalt. If you wanna," they reached out to us to reach out to you, and we're like, "We'll do a collab." You know, like
That's pretty sick.
Yeah, like we were just talking about like how we want to do collabs and like be part of the community, and like we don't care who you are, we'll do a collab, you know, like so it was cool for them to reach out to us, and we were like, hey, like what are your thoughts on the West Coast? Like, well, we have this old like English pale ale kind of malt, and we were like, we could do an old school West Coast, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
And that's what this is.
Okay. It's this is dope, man. Like you don't really get these that often. I would say the old school style with that, like, I feel like you've actually made it more approachable. I expected it to be much more aggressively bitter and
Yeah.
intense, but it's quite like it's got that old school malt profile that you would expect from 2011 ish, but it's also the hops are not as like, it's not trying to rip your tongue off with the bitterness there,
Yeah.
you know.
No, yeah,
Was that
exactly.
the intention?
Yeah, like I mentioned before, like a lot of the beers we do is kind of, at least for now, inclusive, I would call it. Like you want people who might not be familiar with the style to not be afraid of it, you know? And like someone like myself who like lagers, I'm not a West Coast guy. I
No,
am
no.
really not a West Coast guy. But when we made the Megalodon, the modern West Coast, I was like, oh,
This is
I'm
fire, yeah.
intrigued. And I
Okay.
was like, okay, well, maybe now is the time for us to try an old school West Coast. The No one's really doing that right now inside the community. We'll give them an old school West Coast and see what people think. And so far, the reviews have been very overwhelmingly positive,
Love
which
it.
is very, very nice to see because it wasn't something I was really expecting for an old school West Coast. You know, like you make the old school West Coast, and I was expect people to go, "This isn't a West Coast," because people are so used to the modern one was kind of more on the lighter side, the lagery side,
Yes.
you know. But like, I'm happy that there's still a clientele and audience for people who love that old school malty, West Coast. So.
Yeah, it's definitely, like you said, not something that you see a ton,
Hmm.
but it's like when you do get it, it's like, oh, it takes you right the fuck back, I guess, because you weren't you were a bit newer to the beer scene, but for I would say to a lot of beer nerds, it's like it just brings you right. I was just looking through Untappd as you were talking there, and I saw some people saying exactly as a West Coast should be, like
Yeah.
who checked into it. So I feel like this is like something that would speak to a lot of people because it's nostalgic.
Hmm.
And the new school, I know some people as well at the same time who don't drink old school ones. They only like the new school ones. That's
Oh,
totally cool.
yeah.
Nate and I, we're massive on Westies. Period. I love them all. We love everything from this to the new school stuff, old school hop. You actually got, what's it, Strata, Cashmere, and Chinook. So you got a like two new school and one old school hop on here.
Yeah.
It's this is fantastic. It's got that grapefruit pith. It's got some piney. That's what I meant to fucking put in this review. God damn it. It's what's the other thing I was gonna say? Yeah, grapefruit pith, the piney bitterness.
Piney.
It's like yeah, definitely bitter but not over the top. Balanced, fruity. Man,
Yeah.
fantastic. I love
Thank
it.
you, man.
I really enjoy this style. I feel like it's something that there's like people who love it or hate it. I can understand it being a little more like people being picky about it.
Yeah.
It's it's aggressive. It's something
Hmm.
that maybe not everyone is here for in the world of softer beers with New England's and maybe some chill fruited sours and things like that.
Yeah.
Whereas in the 2010s, we're drinking fucking it was like the bit. I don't know if, I guess you went. Did people tell you about like the bitterness sort of war?
Yeah.
The IBU war. Sorry, is what
Hmm.
they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like all the beers are trying to outdo each other with the crazy bitterness, and then the crazy barrel aged sours that are puckering. Like, everything was
Oh,
just fucking
yeah.
so intense, and then now it's sort of definitely mellowed out as far as those flavors. So when you do have something like this again, you're like, oh shit, yes, like everything was like this at a period.
Hmm.
So it's nice. It's nice to have
So,
it.
the West Coast idea came again. I'm gonna make Nick, the superhero. Everything like
Shouts to Nick.
he is our craft beer guy. Like I
What does
don't
he
know.
do at the brewery?
He's a bartender.
Okay.
But he literally, like when I was working on Labrosse, he would come in and he was kind of the guy that kind of got me tasting beers.
Okay.
Where he was like, yeah, I got this new, like, this is like what, a year ago? So this was like, yeah, I got this new Crazy Horse Maison double IPA that came out. Tell me what you think. Do you taste this? Do you taste that? And now I'm like, oh wait, am I supposed to be tasting things? So I'm tasting that and I'm like, oh wait, yeah, I know what you're talking about. So he's very into the beer stuff, right? And I asked him like, dude, I really don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what beer to make. Like we have all these. I'm looking at the menu because I'm trying to do something that's not in the menu. I'm looking at the menu going, I don't know what we're missing right now. What are we missing? And he goes, dude, if I was you, I'd just make an old school West Coast. I was like, really, an old school West Coast? He goes, dude, I would love an old school West Coast. I'm like, for you, I'll make an old school West Coast. And then we made this. And then I every day I tell him like, this is your doing. And he goes, dude, I drink it. I don't care. He's like, I drink it. And people have been liking it. So thank you,
That's
Nick.
Hell yeah! Shouts to Nick for this. And what's the general response? So do people either love it or hate it, or are people mostly just like yo about it, or the people who not even into it wouldn't even try it?
It's weird because we had a West Coast when we opened the Megalodon, and people loved it. So now people, because we don't have the Megalodon anymore, people are like, you guys don't have that West Coast. I'm like, oh, but I got this new one. And people go, oh, okay. And now I've noticed that people who might not know West Coasts like that, or know the modern ones, aren't familiar with the old school ones. There's so many new people to the craft beer scene that people are going with what they've seen now. So like, okay, hazy IPAs and all these things, like they're not used to the barrel saisons or like the big BA stouts, like with the crazy adjuncts and all that stuff. Old school, like West Coasts, they might not have had that before.
Gotcha.
Or they might have had it so few times to forget. So like we had a trivia the other night, and a guy who's a big Megalodon fan, he's like, you have no more? I'm like, I don't, but I have this. And he tried it. He goes, is this a West Coast? I'm like, it is a West Coast. And he goes, this is phenomenal. I didn't know this. But he wasn't familiar. So it's very interesting to see people who come in and go, yeah, that's the stuff I remember from like, the 2010s like time. But at the same time, it's like people who might not know what it is coming in and it's being introduced to old school West Coasts, which is something I was not expecting as well, as the people who would come in and go, oh, wait, this is different. This is new for me, not new for the community, but new for me, new for this consumer, which I wasn't expecting.
Interesting. Okay, that's good. It's good that people, because I can understand if people aren't into this, because it's an acquired taste, I would imagine.
It is.
And like I think in a world where like IPAs, if you think of IPAs, like the general public makes fun of IPAs for this. They say everything's like licking a tree and biting an orange or whatever. Sure. But the general craft beer consumer who, like you said, if you got into beer in the last 5-ish years, like you think an IPA is hazy and yellow.
Yeah.
And you don't know any different. Like you don't know that you look at this and go, they wouldn't even know how to compute this. So it's you're introducing people to a whole new breadth of like flavors.
Yeah.
That they hadn't, that we all came up drinking. Because it's funny when even just thinking about it, even up until Haze, like 2016 maybe, like this was an IPA. If you said IPA, this is what I'm talking about. If it didn't look like this, you're like, what the fuck am I
doing? Old school American style.
Old school American IPA, American West Coast. It was a little bit more interchangeable back then. This is probably more what you would consider West Coast specifically. American is probably a little softer, I would argue, and maybe a little paler.
Yeah.
But if you have a West
Coast,
definitely be lighter. But the old school West Coast, like everything, if you think of like all the like Stone and like all the shit that was like popping, even like locally, like Quebec, what was there? Oh, fucking like Yakima IPA from the Castor and like Pit Caribou, shit. American IPA, all of those type of things. And they might not have been this level of amber. I can't remember. But like it was a time when everything kind of looked like this, or at least sort of maybe slightly a little paler, but for the most part in this ballpark. And it was just it's an interesting time. It's fun because it does take you back, and it's cool. Also, though, there's like nostalgia, and then also, like you said, the gentleman in the tap room who didn't know about it, and like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So it's good to know that people are responding well to it, because that would be like, I feel like there's not many. Quebec is arguably better than at West Coast as far as keeping them more consistent than I think Ontario is. There's more around more often. I don't know if that's a thing.
I would say so. I feel like when I think Ontario, I think like lagers, hazy IPAs, or stouts, like crazy stouts. because like the Blood Brothers, Third Moon, and like Brain, you know, like I'm thinking they're like those guys, like big crazy stouts, peanut butter adjuncts, you know, all
Ridiculous
that stuff, ridiculous pastry stouts. Then I have like All My Friends, Slake, like Bellwoods, Hayes, and you got like then you got like the Godspeed, like lagers, True History. But I'm like, you know, those are like the three main ones I see for me. Like, so maybe I haven't seen many West Coasts recently, actually. Not even like just in Ontario, but even in Quebec, I haven't seen many West Coast recently.
Sankiem in Gatineau, they do a lot. They've done more than anyone I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're doing it, but I feel like there's like more options more often. And once again, I haven't lived in Quebec for a while, so I don't remember specifically. Just compared to here, if you want to go year round, like the LCBO or something, there's like 2 or 3 different ones. Whereas I just feel like in Quebec, there's just more regular and more variety. For whatever reason, I don't know. And maybe this is anecdotal. Like it's not. There's no like backing to this. It just always feels like though. All that to say is that you talking that it's been talking about how positive this has been. How positive that response has been. It is awesome to hear because it means that there is that market that are like either being put onto it or already love it and we're like, yes, I was looking for this.
No, that's the thing that we weren't really expecting, right? Like we see the trends and we see the Untappd, like we mentioned before, the Untappd like statistics. They come in and you see them, you know what people like. But when you go into a new style or style you haven't seen in a long time, right? Like you can sit there and you can assume it might be died out, you know, but then you have the resurgence of the old customers, but then you have these new guys that haven't heard of this before, you know, and that's the stuff that you didn't really expect. It's like a pleasant surprise. It's like Christmas, you know? It's a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, like these guys actually like enjoy this? Like that's great, you know?
Damn, all right.
Like they actually enjoy the style. They're happy that it's back. Well, like
That's
back,
sick.
but like they're happy they actually have a beer that reminds them of when they started drinking craft beer, you know? Like you said, it took you back, and like I wonder how many people who try this beer or gets it from their local craft beer store will sit there and go, man, I remember, you know, my first West Coast, or remember like the style from back then and how everything's changed, you know, really puts things into perspective.
Big time. Yeah, it's very cool just to even to hear though that it's positive, because I would expect once again that I think that it just feels like people would be a little more averse to this unless you're already a fan. But if you're converting people on this, that's amazing. Overall, in the tap room, do you ever work behind the bar, or do you see enough of the tap room to?
Oh yeah, I work behind the bar.
Okay,
yeah.
I assumed as much, but I want to check. Because I know family business, small.
Well, you gotta do a little bit of everything, you know.
Yeah, put whatever hat on you need to put on.
Exactly.
Do you find that people are pretty open to this? Like, what's your general? Obviously, aside from the gentleman who loved Megalon, what's it called?
Megalodon.
Do you find the people who like that beer, you know, that guy like that, which is a new school, and then enjoyed this one? Do you find generally, is there like a wall that people put up of like, oh, West Coast, I don't like that? Or is it sort of people like, oh, I like folklore, period. So anything you do is probably good. Let me try it. What's the general?
The overall consensus we received has been like, if you like West Coasts, we've kind of been pushing you towards the Caddy because it's a West Coast. You know, like if you get to like I guess too specific on style and hops and malt and all that stuff, it's too much information people understand.
Gotcha.
So if someone comes in and goes, I like your Megalodon, do you have something like the Megalodon? I go, we have something that's the same style. It's a little bit more old school. And they go, I'll try it. 95% of the time they'll sit there and they'll enjoy it. Because they'll sit there and go, okay, it is light. It's not light, but like, you know, it has those same kind of notes that I was expecting, 5%. Like, you know, it's very, you got that piney, you said, you know, like it's very similar. So they would sit there and they go, okay, well, Han, this isn't the same, but it's close enough. And that's how they kind of latch onto it. of the it's just West Coast I enjoy,
Gotcha.
or it's I like Chinook. So when they go and get their next beer that might not be from us, but at like a store, and they say, okay, well, I like West Coast. It says West Coast. I like Chinook. This one doesn't have Chinook. I won't touch it. I like Chinook. This one says Chinook. I'll get it.
Gotcha.
It kind of pinpoints a little bit more. Like it, you don't want to scare them by putting like it has these hops and this malt and this profile, and old school is different because of this reason. Just say it's similar. It's the same style. And people will make their own judgments based off of that, And usually, from what I've seen, is people have been very positive from the feedback I've gotten. People have been very positive, going, "Wow, yeah, I get what you mean by how it's similar," and that's really cool.
That's dope. Okay, good. That's like really encouraging, because sometimes I just kind of like wonder, just like sort of where the general palate is. And I know you're speaking to your tap room specifically, but just like from a place that I sometimes would be like, oh, I wonder if the brewery isn't known for the style, or those different factors, like how would that determine whether people are more inclined? Because I don't know, I'm in a bit of a beer nerd bubble. A lot of the people I talk to are beer nerds, so I'm like, we all understand you use a little slang with all the different stuff, and you're like, what's going on in the different places, but you don't always get to chat to like the maybe less beer nerdy people like craft beer, but they're not like fucking obsessed with it or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's always like cool to hear just sort of where the general palette is, at least from your experience, and in once again in this short amount of time. But if there's and I was kind of also asking in the sense of, we were talking earlier about which way you're going to go with the brewery moving forward, and sort of what styles people are gravitating towards. So that is cool to hear that. On that note, are there any styles then, say on the not interested side, are there any styles that you've done that people just don't seem interested in, as like period, as opposed to maybe like they don't like that particular beer, but maybe there's like a style that you feel like every time we do it, it's a slower seller? Once again, you've only got since May to now, and we're filming this in October, so that's literally 5 months. It's not much data, but on a very high level, is there anything that stands out for you that maybe people aren't the most excited about?
Honestly, it's funny because we just talked about the West Coast is like it's so strange because I feel like it's not like an old school versus new school thing. It's just a West Coast versus thing, Yeah, because like people could love the modern West Coast, or love the old school West Coast, but they like West Coasts. If you like a West Coast, you like a West Coast. If you don't like a West Coast, you don't like a West Coast. So when we made the Caddy after making the Megalodon, the clientele has been the same.
Okay.
But the time it took for us to run out of the Caddy, the Megalodon, has been a lot longer than in New England. Like where we ran out of the Matic Moa, like we have cans of it, but on draft, we ran out of the Matic Moa. We ran out of like Bigfoot. We ran out of the New Englands a lot faster. I think the beer that we've run out of the slowest has been the West Coast.
Interesting. That adds up to me. That adds up. Not because of your brewery, just because of the palette of people in 2025.
Yeah.
I feel like Haze is kind of not, I was about to say ruined people's thing, but like, because it's like, there's different, it's, I don't know what you're thinking from how long you've been into beer or whatever, but like, because we started with this, there's like a nostalgia. Then you get into Haze, and we were like, fuck West Coast, bro. We're just all about the Haze. I didn't want nothing else. Then they're like, oh, smoothies come out. Like, yeah, pastry stouts, let's go.
Let's go.
Oh, Luke, like fucking slow pour / Luca Crispies, let's go. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but like in the last few years, I don't know, Nate and I can only speak for Nate and I really, because we've got pretty similar palates. Like, well, it's like, I will not have a drinking session unless I'm drinking the West Coast. Like I will always sort of split up my Haze with a Westie.
Okay.
I always keep Westies on deck. And I don't know if everybody drinks like that, but it's something that like I don't even know what happened. I can't think back to the moment where I was like, because I imagine there would have been a time where I was just not interested. If something was West Coast, I would have been like, no, next. But there's like something now where I'm just like, no. I very much crave it, and I feel like it's an antithesis to too much haze, because maybe like haze got saturated to the point where it's everywhere all the time, and they start to blend in together. If you're having a session, you're drinking a lot of haze in one session, it's kind of becomes hard to tell the difference.
It does, yeah.
You got to cut it, and this is the perfect cut.
Yeah, like that yeah, that's exactly it. And like it's funny, like I was thinking about it, it's like the clientele for West Coast, it's there. The demand is there, but the amount of people who demand a West Coast isn't a lot.
Between.
Yeah. So it's like when you make a West Coast, you have those diehard drinkers who will drink 2 to 3 West Coasts per session, and they'll love it and get cans to go home. But at the same time, you have people who just won't even try West Coast because it's not a haze, you know? And my dad's included. He's waving at me. He's included in that. Yeah, he's not a West Coast guy.
Not a Westie?
Oh, no, dude. Like, even before I knew what beer was, he was like, he would bring home the Canafa Tal in 4-packs. And I'd be like, okay, so this is what? This is like hazy IPA. And I didn't know what that meant,
That's
know?
All, right.
But now I'm like, okay, so he's a hazy guy.
Gotcha. Look, I respect it. I think it's like each to their own, and it's interesting. So, could you do smaller batches of Westie to make sure that it's available, without, or does your full batch? The good thing about Westies is that they last way longer than haze lasts, because haze has a much shorter, lifespan overall. I would argue than a Westie. I could have a Westie 6 months old, and I probably wouldn't blink. Whereas, like if I have a haze 4 weeks old, I'm like, whoa, like. Let's take it easy here. Let's see what's up. So I feel like, how do you approach that as far as?
I think that what we're gonna start doing here is like just do a lot of smaller batches, because what we did originally was we didn't know any better. So we did our opening. We did double batches of everything. So 1,100 liters of everything, and now we're kind of suffering the consequences of that, because it's like. We have so much left. Not like so much left, but it's kind of like the beers that, we brewed beginning of May, end of April, and now it's mid-October. And some of the stuff, like we just finished the last IPA we made, So it's like, okay, well, that's a 3-month-old IPA, but now we know for the future, smaller batches, faster turnover, right? Yeah. So now the future is, what is it? How many liters? What's the sweet spot? Is it 600 liters if we do cans? If it's like, is it 700, 800? Like the brew I did on Monday was 800 liters. Right? So that should be a decent amount to last me, a decent amount of time, but not long enough that it becomes bad or falls apart or oxidized, whatever, whilst having cans,
Gotcha.
So it's still trying to figure out the sweet spot. But I think a small batch West Coast should always be in the rotation. Because
what's a small batch? How many liters?
I like to say maybe 400, 500 liters. It's probably. So have you ever been to Gillingham?
No, but I've spoken to him. Yes, I haven't been yet.
One of the prettiest breweries I've ever been to. When my dad and I, we did a road trip to Pissarro County, and we did how many breweries were we doing again? Like 6?
We did 6 the first day and 4 the next day.
We did 6 on the Friday, 4 the day after. And the first stop for that was Gillingham's, and their like brew house and the brewery itself was like they do like 500 liter batches. Okay. And I asked the brewer, I'm like, how fast is your turnover? They go 3 to 4 weeks. I'm like, 3 to 4 weeks. He goes, yeah. I'm like, that is the sweet spot. That is the sweet spot of if you make a beer and you get out of the green phase and it's ready to go, it's not green anymore. You release it after 4 weeks. It's starting to that's when it
slowly starts to drop.
Yeah, that's when it starts to get to it. So it's like, okay, well, 4 weeks, you're out. That's perfect. And he does a 500 liter batch. So maybe that is the sweet spot, try 500. If not, bump it up. If not, bring it down, So I think we're going to do 500 liters.
I like that, because then it's better to sell out than to be sitting on stuff, depending on the style. Like if you've got like a little stout, then who cares really? It doesn't matter. But if you've got like more precious beer like IPAs, then it's probably better to move as fast as possible. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, and I guess that's part of the biggest challenge is just to find out like how fast the shit move at what time of year.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you find that haze moves the same speed whether it's January or July.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe Westies move more at certain times. So I guess that's just like there's nothing else you can do but just keep going, and then you'll figure all this stuff out.
Yeah. Like right now, like we also haven't done every single like style, So there's a lot of answers we don't know. Like we're trying to figure out a style for our anniversary. We have a style in mind. We've never done it before. It's gonna be interesting, but I need to start doing it in December because I need to let it sit for a while. But the thing is I don't know how well it will sell in May. I don't know if that is the period for that style, if that's when the demand is highest for that type of beer, But we'll find out and we'll see. But it's still like there's some styles we haven't released here, so we don't know what the demand is.
No, that makes sense. And fuck, man, what else can you do? Just gonna throw shit
Just
at the
gotta
wall
do
and see
it.
what sticks.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Okay, look, I don't want to keep pushing through the beers. I know because we're only done 4.
No,
2.5
I
hours.
agree.
I'm enjoying the conversation. What should we do next, bro?
Dude, I think the Dep Run. I
Dep Run?
think we leave the IPAs for last. We start the Dep Run, low alcohol haze.
Oh yes, the pale ale, right?
The pale ale, yeah, the one that kind of looks kind of
There we go.
supernaturally.
Boom. Yes, it is a little supernatural right here.
Yeah.
The Dep
So
Run
that-
that is so deeply Quebecois. I love it.
There is a crazy, like not crazy story, but there's a fun story behind this beer specifically.
Talk to me.
So when we went to go see you guys,
Yes.
we were thinking about different, like we were having fun. We're at Burdock. It was like the end of the Saturday, right? So we were having a couple of like drinks, and we're thinking about like, crazy beer names. And Nick and I were sitting with my dad, and we're going, okay, well, what would be a crazy good beer name? And so we made a list on my notes app and all this stuff, and one of them was Dep Run. And I was like, why Dep Run? And he was like, well, think about it. What's a beer that if you went to a depanneur, what's the one beer that you would want to get? Like you go to a depanneur, what is the beer you want? And the first thing I think of is I'm gonna go for a pack of Guinness, but I think I'm crazy. but the thing is like, what is that beer? But it's like, what is that light style beer? And we were like, wow, what if we made a light style hazy beer that people who are going to like a summer party can go pick up as like your staple, low alcohol, tastes good. You go on a party, you get a 4-pack of it, you drink it, having a good time. And so that's why we did that. When it comes to the label, it was really interesting because my sister, if you look at the back of the can, the original. Oh, he's taking it. So
You know the vibes.
no, for sure.
Yes.
The original back. If you look at the bottom, there's a little picture of these two guys' faces with the Dep Run right here.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the original label that we decided to not do.
Oh, no shit. Okay.
So every can we do has a Easter egg to some degree. This one's really interesting because that is the actual original label we were going to do for this can. And then I was like, what if instead we did like the supernatural kind of thing with the depanneur? So what we did is we had myself and Nick next to, I believe that's the car from Supernatural. Baby from Supernatural. And then you have the depanneur with Bigfoot in the window and the Jeannie Johnson poster into the window,
Nice.
which is very interesting. And we had the Supernatural like writing and stuff.
And the 4-pack on top of the car.
And the 4-pack on top of the car. It's a lot of Easter eggs that we put into our beers. And this is by far our most Easter egg filled can.
That's sick. Here for it.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Do you have your you got it right there?
Yeah.
Brother, cheers, legend.
Cheers, man.
Wicked head, great nose. There we go. Exactly as described. What is it, 5.5?
5.5.
Citra. Oh, Eggers Rawaka and Vic's
Yeah,
Secret.
and
Nice.
Vic's
Bit of Australia
Secret.
in there too.
Mm-hmm.
That's
We
a good-
inherited a lot of Australian hops. Enigma, Galaxy, which put into the MOA, and
Nice.
Big Secret.
It's just like was left over. That's actually interesting that you inherited hops, eh?
Yeah, it was very interesting. Like when we inherited like all the ingredients, we went into the fridge and we looked at the hops and we're like, whoa, we got some heavy hitters. Like we had like freestyle Wawaka, freestyle Nelson, like things that
Wow.
should not have been left around, you know? Like we were very fortunate in that sense because now we're gonna put them in some IPAs and stuff and
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's super dope that you even because that's something I wouldn't have really considered was like, well, whatever was left at the time once you take it over, it was like
Took over.
so you had like a full fridge full of stuff.
Pretty much. We like a lot of
Fuck.
the cans and stuff that was labeled we couldn't use, so we had to get rid of them. But the ingredients, the raw materials, we did inherit a lot of it. We inherited a lot of cool things that now we've been able to put into our brews, and you know, people have been able to enjoy. I'm happy that it hasn't gone to waste. You know, it's a lot
I like
of
that.
materials that are still being used, a lot of materials that people get to enjoy.
I like that, man. And it's like some of these hops would have been kind of like a bit maybe not difficult, but just, you know, challenging to get hold of. So if you've got like a fridge off the rip full of these hops, that's pretty sweet. That's a
Yeah.
great kind of position to begin with, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Do you do date codes at all on the cans?
Day codes, they should be, yeah. So we use can management. Sometimes they put the date codes on and the lot number. Sometimes they don't. It really just depends on if the printer is working on that specific day.
Gotcha.
Because recently on the last ones, I'm not sure if they had it on the Festbier, but I think they have it on the Festbier, if I'm not mistaken. On the bottom?
No.
No?
Not on a first. It wasn't on Caddy or Dep It's on King Arthur though.
Yeah, so like it depends because
That was
recently,
from July.
yeah, it depends on when the machine, the actual printer works, right? So
I
like
have heard that's a thing. It's the finicky.
it's very finicky. So like there'll be times where they bring the full printer, they set it all up, and we get a few couple cans, and they go, "Oh shit, the printer's not working."
Oh, okay.
You know, and then like, oh wait, why is the printer not working? Then they have to troubleshoot it, and like, okay, we're just gonna go on without it because you know we've already started canning and reconfigured everything, whatever. Just like make sure you know when it's canned, so it's like best before and all that stuff. Like, but like that's the thing. It's like I don't know. It's I honestly I would rather obviously have the date on it, but sometimes it just the machine was finicky. It's finicky, you know.
It is what it is. Yeah, I've definitely heard that's a bit more of a thing, but that's yeah, it's more just always more for the outside purchases like the Deps, hence the name of the beer or whatever. Like if you let a Dep or a specialty beer store, just so that you, I guess also it probably helps you for quality control as far as like making sure you know which batch it is, or you know tying into that stuff we were talking earlier about Untappd and the styles or beers that are selling in different places and the ratings that come in with it. And
Yeah, exactly. Like if they have an older can and it says the date on it, then I know what's wrong, you know?
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah, exactly. Like the positive, as I'm just like briefly scrolling through the Instagram, fucking Untappd, very, very positive responses from this. Is great.
Yeah, like it was very, when we released it, it was very interesting because we released it and I think it was like our third hazy we ever made. And it was a pale ale, and we're like, yeah, we're gonna make a pale ale. But what I noticed is that people who drink IPAs don't necessarily like pale ales. You know?
Not always, yeah. It's they're an interesting one.
So it's kind of like this weird, not weird niche, but like this interesting niche where it's like if you like the drier, less juicy, hoppy IPAs, maybe a pale ale's for you. But if you're into the juicy hoppiness, you won't like a pale ale, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of this weird catch-22 of like, yeah, it's lower alcohol percentage, but you also don't get the same flavor, richness, juiciness that you get in an IPA. So it was one of those that we kind of, like you said, you chuck it at the ceiling fan and you see what happens, right?
It's the only way to do it, man. Like, see what people like, and there's always going to be a crowd for it. I feel like even like the hypiest of haze breweries all do pale ales around this amount, between 5.5. All
Yeah.
of them. I was
Yeah.
at Fiden. I got some. We were in Albany. Went to Fiden's and Treehouse. I got pale
Yeah.
ales from both of them.
Yeah.
Killer. All the guys in Ontario, Meso, fucking Sir John, like whatever, Counterpart, Third Moon, Badlands, Willowball, everyone's, all the Prince Edward County guys, they're all doing pale ales. So I feel like there's certainly a market for hazy pale ales. I don't think that's like not. I think that's definitely the move, because it's kind of what you said. Like if you go into an event and you want to crush a bunch of these, or I don't know how many you can crush and drive, but maybe you want to get too lit. You could drink a nice solid 4-pack and not be out of your mind.
Yeah.
Which is good. And you got tons of flavor. You've got that. Sorry, you got that same that body that you're looking for, because this has got the body. This is very smooth and silky, like very oat forward. I would imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of, for this one, we sacrificed a lot of not sacrifice, but like we kept so we had kind of the same formula, but we did for the pale ales, we kind of we kept the oat malts the same, and we got rid of a lot of the Pillsbury pale ale malt that we used. So we kind of toned that one down because we wanted to keep that oat, like you said, like you wanted to keep that silky oat kind of feel to it. Yeah. So if you want to lower the alcohol percentage, you got to sacrifice something. You're going to not sacrifice the oat in that case,
It's one or the other type shit. I feel
exactly.
Yeah, you got to kind of go in, but no, you managed to find like a really nice balance on this style, and I feel like it does get fronted on almost as much as a West Coast IPA. I would argue, like as far as haze, it's definitely the least popular, but that's unfortunate. It shouldn't be the least popular because it's. I feel like there's always a place for I always personally really enjoy pale ales, like hazy pale ales. From all different breweries, like and I think like you were saying before, like maybe like the hype type of like shit is like sort of IPAs and up, like 6.5 type shit and up. But I don't know, man. I feel like there's something to that. I feel like this has got to be almost harder to make than a 6.5, because you got to try and capture that body and hop expression in 5 to 5.5.
You have a restriction. It's like you can only go so far. So it's like if I'm making if you're making a hoppy pale ale or like a crazy, like you said, like this, like you have a certain level where you're like you can't pass this threshold. You got to do it right, because if you don't do it right, you then made an IPA. It's like you want to get the most out of the restriction that you put for yourself. And that's what when we made this, it was very interesting, because it was like we knew we wanted to get as IPA as we could without it being an IPA.
Yeah.
And it was like you wanted to get, like you said, the hop saturation, the mouthfeel, the silkiness, the haze, the color. We wanted to hit those markers without it. People sitting there going, "This is an IPA that's 5%, 5.5%." We wanted to make sure it was a pale ale, respect the fact it was a pale ale, but also make it very hoppy. And if you're an IPA drinker, you can sit here and go, "Oh, there are aspects of this that I enjoy. It's not just a pale ale. There's aspects I can connect to what I normally would drink."
Great point. Yeah. And that's what's going to get those even more like convert, like those sort of typical, when you say IPA drinkers, meaning like the strength, like 6.5 and up type thing, be more interested. Because I definitely know some people I know some dudes who don't drink anything less than double IPAs and imperial stouts and barley wines. That's all they drink. My main contact in Montreal, who we trade beer all the time and get stuff for each other, that's all he drinks. So he won't even, if I try to give him lagers, he's not even interested. I think that's just like some people are just like into that stuff. I just feel like you're missing out on the nuances of so many different styles if you sort of don't even pay attention to them. And everything kind of has its place, though. That's the thing. Like, everything has like a nice. There's always a time for a pale ale. There's, I feel like just like there's always a time for a West Coast or an American IPA.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are they popular in the tap room? What's the
pale ale?
Yeah, pale ales in general.
Pale ales are being overshadowed by, like you said, like
Regular
the hazy IPAs, but also like if somebody's drinking a 4%er, they're not necessarily hoppy drinkers, like they're not necessarily people that like the hazy. If you drink a 4% beer, you drink a lager, you drink a pilsner, you drink a kolsch. You're not gonna drink necessarily a hazy pale ale. The hazy pale ale for the people is for a very specific niche group of the people that like IPAs, but they want to drink more more quantity.
Volume.
That makes sense. Volume.
Yeah, fuck
It's a
yeah.
volume thing where it's like you want to drink 3 to 4, like you said, 3 to 4 pale ales compared to 2 IPAs. So you go to the bar, you have 2 beers. It's like, oh, well, I had 2 beers. It's been 45 minutes. Versus if you go and you have a pale ale, you could be there for an hour and a half. Had 4 pale ales, had the same effect on you. It's very. I guess a pale ale is more like calculated if you're a consumer. It's a calculated replacement for an IPA. You know, like you sacrifice a lot of things, but for volume, like you said, it's a volume thing.
Yeah, when you say sacrifice, do you mean from the brewing perspective or from like the flavor side?
I mean, from a consumer's perspective, if you sit there and you go, "I'm gonna have a pale ale," I guess for me as a consumer, a pale ale is maybe less juicy. It might be a little bit less hoppy, maybe a little bit more thin compared to like an IPA, where an IPA, like you said, like a good like hazy 6.5, 7.5% IPA, that range, you're gonna get a lot more sugars. You're gonna get a lot more malts, a lot more hop saturation, the color, the body. It could be a lot heavier to drink, plus the alcohol percentage. So you could sit there and drink a good hazy IPA and have 2 and be like, whoa, that was heavy. If you have 2 of these, you'll be feeling a lot different, because
5 to 6.5%, it makes a difference.
Yeah, like it's not the body and the mouthfeel isn't as heavy. So even if you don't think of the alcohol percentage, the actual, just if you're drinking something heavy versus light, like a lager versus like a big stout, like the body, and it makes you feel different, right? Like if I were to drink a lager, like that's why I want to start with the lagers, is because it's nice, it's light, it's introductory. It's nice and light. You get through it. An IPA versus a pale ale, it's like a pale ale is nice and light. An IPA could sit there and kind of sit, because of the sugars, the residual sugars you have in it, and the alcohol percentage and the hop saturation. It's a lot. A good IPA can be a lot sometimes. So it's like a trade you make where it's like, I can have this really amazing IPA, but I need to take a second because there was a lot of hops, a lot of malt, a lot of sugar, So when you have the pale ale, it's like that in between where it's like I can have a couple pale ales. It might not taste the same as IPA, but I have the same themes. It's the best way to put it. Same themes.
That's basically nailed it right there. Exactly what it is. Yeah, man. They really do have their place. So it's nice to have. It's nice. I feel like I drink them, but I should drink them more. And I feel like there's straight pale ale drinkers, and there's some folks who sort of like mix it up a little bit. And I always try to keep some around. I always find like, I don't know, it's interesting to see, like you were talking about, like the hop expression and the differences between like maybe more 6+% to like 5-ish.
Yeah.
And it is different, and it sort of like can help you it's circumstantial. It's cool to have sort of something that's fire and has all of those features of like the bigger IPA, but at a lower ABV. So you can do volume, or if you're going to drive, you can have a couple of them, get a taste of it, as opposed to having to have the larger percentage beers and stuff like that, which are a little difficult to kind of like stick with.
Yeah, like when I started, like when now we're switching towards a new recipe for IPAs. Like we're gonna get to the IPAs now, but like we're
Yes.
switching new recipe for IPAs. It's just like we realized that like you said, like you need more hop expression, you need more body, you need more of those sugars, residual sugars, to kind of mouthfeel. Like you make yourself a good IPA is very distinct compared to a decent IPA. You know, there is that fine line where you can play with it's the mouthfeel, the hop expression, the flavor profile. You know, saturation. There is that fine line that you have to play with, where if you do kind of lack on some of these things, it won't be up to par with some of the best. You know, you got to make sure you hit the nail on the head for a lot of these different breweries. You know, a lot of these different type of beers, because I'm not gonna say competition, but the variety out there is so good. You know, so saturated, so intense, so saturated, so the hop profile, the sugars, the way it's made, like you got to make sure you keep up. You know, it's cutthroat, but it's good that it's cutthroat, because that means the standard is so good that, you know, like you got to keep up, because everyone's making such good stuff. You know, from a consumer standpoint, everyone's making amazing things. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you don't, you're kind of screwed, particularly in this market in Canada, where we're dealing with such incredible breweries and
We are
so much
blessed with
breadth.
so many good things.
Yeah, so it's hard for the consumers. Like, where do you go? What do you do? Where do you spend your money? And you want to make sure that you're getting the best value and what you want out of it. But as a brewery, people coming to the tap room as well, you want to make sure that you got something for everyone that that kind of hits all those notes as well. So there's so many palettes to brew for, I guess.
Yeah.
That's like, you know, you got to find what works, and you're such, like, once again, 5 months open. It's you know, you're still finding what that looks like for you.
Yeah.
And as far as the volume of each, like we were talking before about the Westies and such, same with this. So it's pretty sweet. I got to hit the bathroom, and I imagine you might too as well.
Thank God you mentioned it.
Yes. So let's pause. We'll come back. We'll get into some IPAs.
For sure, man.
We'll be back. And we are back.
We are so back.
And it is time. If Alex moves his head out the side just a bit there,
Yes, sir.
we're going to do that bad boy. Look at that. Look at that Bigfoot right there. That fucking guy. That is glorious. Look at it. Look at it. Stunning. And
It's like
this
a makeup thing.
Isn't it?
Apparently
You watch
so.
too much YouTube.
Perhaps.
And this is a 6% IPA with Idaho 7 Citra Moteca. And this one, is this one that you did from the beginning?
This is our first ever IPA we made, yeah.
Okay, beautiful.
Not this one in the can, because we did one and then we had a few issues with that one. Our glycol machine stopped working. So it went to 32 degrees and it was super hot. So it was kind of too sweet. So we made it again. We made it again. We also switched the hops. So Idaho 7 was now a whirlpool hop, not a dry hop. And so this is the outcome of that. This is the new one, the recent one.
Gotcha. I love it. I mean, that sucks that it did have a problem, but maybe that's kind of good.
It was our first IPA we made, you know? So it was one of those where it was like, okay, I forgot how to do this. I have to remember.
Look, man, there's so many things, so many challenges, little changes, little things you got to do.
I feel like it's science, right? Like people forget that it's science. So sometimes you do things perfectly and stuff that's out of control, you know? Like chemical reactions happen a certain way and you can't really do much about it, right?
It's so much you try to keep it in your control, but I feel like it's like that's the never-ending challenge of craft beer, I guess. Yeah, trying to make it work. So this beer, this is just straight haze.
Straight haze, yeah. New England straight haze.
I love it. Get that in your mate. Cheers.
Yes, you too, man. Oh my god.
Wicked. Choked on that.
It. Yeah. Oh my god.
It's too fire. It's too fire.
I started choking on this. Oh my goodness.
It's okay, man. It happens to the best of us. I choke on shit all the fucking time.
Oh my god. Yeah,
Okay,
so
this is Creature Series #1 and Folklore #1. Talk to me. Oh, because it's first IPA.
So it was the first. So we wanted to do this thing called Creature Series. Like, you know what? We started and we're like, okay, we could do the Folklore Series, which is like every beer, and then there's
Okay.
Creature Series, which is about the creatures, the monsters. Like you said, like, so like that would be Megalodon, Bigfoot, Moa, Manuka. Well, yeah, Manuka wouldn't be that, but like there would be a few ones around monsters, and this was like the first one, right? Because it was King Arthur, which was a folklore, not a creature, and then there was creature, Bigfoot. But then we realized that like we can have beers that are neither. You might as well just do it to two categories of folklores and then like more like cultural kind of expressions and cultural like Montreal folklores. You know, like the Dep Run, which is like a thing that every kid does, you know, like when they're like 18, 19, and they go on a party, you go to the Dep Run, you get the beers you need, you know, like so that was kind of a different thing. But Bigfoot is like the folklore, you know, like when people ask like what's a folklore you think of, the first thing I always think of is like the Bigfoot, you know. It's like such a staple. So we realized that our main flagship IPA had to be Bigfoot. It just had to be.
This is your flagship?
This is our flagship IPA, yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay, that's sick. It was kind of one of the questions I actually forgot to ask you was like, did you have a flagship and what's the deal? Is this the only flagship or is there...
So the flagship, we realized that we wanted to hit as many demographics as we could. With the flagships, we have 16 lines. So we want to make sure we have as many flagships, recurring beers as we can. So we wanted to do Bigfoot. Jeannie Johnson was one, and then we had King Arthur.
Okay.
So those right now are the three. We want to do a lager, but because the way that we brewed the Alkonost, we might have to find another lager. But I think we want to do an IPA, a lager, the King Arthur, and the Genie. What the hell? Yeah, we're doing a Hellas right now, but
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I think that's kind of what we're looking at.
This slaps, by the way. This beer is fucking great.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
This is awesome. Is this how fresh is this one?
This one, when did we make this Bigfoot? It would be after July, maybe August. It might be a month old.
Okay. Solid. It's like it's super bright. I feel like it's got a little bit of hopburn in it, which hopburn is my favorite because it means that beers last a bit longer, I reckon.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you got a little bit of just like touch a little greenness or just that right amount, which is sick.
For this beer, we added a lot of hops. Like when we did it, we wanted to. So one thing that we are here is that we're like students, right? Like we want to learn. We want to learn the tips and tricks. We want to learn techniques. We want to learn Nick and I. We watch your podcast and we hear the tips and tricks from other people, and I go, I like that idea. I'm gonna use that. You know, like little things like that. So when I hear, like for example, Zach from Bad Bones, how much hops he uses inside his doubles, I sit there and I go, okay, now I need to go to my whiteboard and figure out what's that in retrospect to a single. You know, what's that in retrospect to the amount of water I'm using and the batch size, and I try to figure it out. This was our first. We're gonna add a crap ton of hops and see what happens. You know, this was the we're gonna add more than we have before and hope that it isn't too much. Hope that's not too green. Hope that it's not, too hoppy for people to sit there and go, yeah, this isn't for me. You know, because as a flagship, you can't really. I feel like flagships have to be safe. You can't really play too much within that. You know.
That's fair. There's an expectation of consistency that you kind of like stuck with when it comes to a flagship.
Yeah, exactly. Right. You kind of, as a flagship, like especially if it's an expensive flagship, you can't do it all the time, man. You know.
Yeah, you can't fuck around. So this one, I can see why. I'm drinking this now, 6%. By the way, I don't know if we mentioned that, which is a nice. I think between 6 and 7 personally is my favorite ABV for IPAs. No, love a good double, but between 6 and 7 personally is like I can just drink more. It's really all it comes down to. The body is fantastic. It's chalky, dry, juicy. It's got that dank citrus. Everything that you kind of want. It's like I feel like there's like a little pinch of sort of a bitterness in there.
A little bit, yeah, at the end.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it could be. The Idaho 7. I don't know
I
much
think
about Idaho 7 actually.
it used to be my favorite hop. Idaho 7 is awesome.
That it was Dan's favorite hop forever.
Yeah, shouts to Dan.
That's
He
why.
knows what's up.
That's why it's in here.
Okay.
When we were like, oh yeah, we want to do a flagship. I'm like, you like Motueka, like Citra, and Dan's like, I'll just throw Idaho 7 into everything. I'm like, all right, just throw Idaho 7 in there, and that's what we got. So maybe he knows. He knows Idaho 7's the move.
It kind of is the move, bro. I kind of think it is. It's
Yeah.
underrated. It's not as cool as it used to be because now there's Peacherine and all this fun ass shit, Nectaron
Yeah.
and da da da. But it's I feel like it's a really nice balance with it's bigger than the pale ale,
Mm-hmm.
and you can tell, but it's not. It's still equally as crushable, if that makes sense. Without, like, it's not like all of a sudden it's just so thick and sweet, and you're like, ah, shit, it's over. Yeah, it goes down beautiful.
Of course. Yeah.
Being that there's like, it is close to the pale ale. Do you see like this is 6, pale ale's 5.5, but they are very different beers, and you can very much taste that they're different. Is that a consideration as far as you're just like, oh, okay, these guys are pretty close? I mean, the pale ale was a one-off, I guess, as you said, as opposed to
like when we made this beer specifically, it was very much the what do you want your like I like to compare to like sports where it's like what is your franchise player gonna be like? You know, like what is that franchise like, player? And Bigfoot is that franchise player. So what do you want it to be? We want it to be drinkable, we want it to be like easy to drink, light, but have that IPA juiciness, like you said, the hops, the mouthfeel. We want to make sure that it is balanced and it kind of ticks every box to a degree. Like we don't want it to be like a crazy, super insane IPA because, like you said, like if you're gonna make that jump from like a Dep Run to a Bigfoot, that's a big gap if you're doing that. If you're switching from a Dep Run to the Bigfoot we're doing right now, it's not as big of a jump. It's not as scary of a jump. And it could actually be a good gateway of an IPA for you.
I think so.
Where like if you're into the pale ales, you have the pale ale, you then take a jump to Bigfoot, and maybe that could be your jump into like Fable 1 we're going to do, or we have the Taniwa, or the beer we've made that is going to be released by the end of the month. Like those beers that are a little bit more saturated, hazy, big malt bill, like that's kind of more of the extreme IPA side. Like you said, 6 to 7%. That's more than the 7%. The 6% is a good 6.5, 6.2, 6.3. That is the gradual transition. And I find Bigfoot is that gradual transition, which is what you want instead of a flagship IPA, because you want it to be accessible to everybody, and you want it to be drinkable for everybody.
Yeah, I think you know that those two elements definitely with this. Like I think it's quite approachable. Like it's, even if we were like in the context of talking, even just like conceptually a pale ale versus an IPA, you might think, more people be into a pale ale than IPA, but this is like so damn drinkable, and it's only a touch more ABV, so it's not even like this massive jump where it's like. But I feel like there's a difference, though. It's interesting because a pale ale is made in a different way than an IPA is made, so it's not even just the ABV; it's about how it's made. So I can see this work for you, man. So this one, this is fantastic. And we were saying, so the 3 beers. Sorry, I know you were just saying, just to remind me, you were saying to do this. You're going to say you would do a like a Helles. Did you say?
Okay, so my dad leaked the Helles.
Okay.
The Helles isn't out yet, but we made a Helles.
When's it coming?
Flagship. Halloween.
Oh, this will be out right before then, so it's probably really good. This will be out in 2 weeks
for Halloween. Yeah, for Halloween.
So we can spoil that a bit because it won't be much of a spoiler. You should have it out before then.
Yeah, so like it'll be out for Halloween. Okay, you know, you ruined the Hellas. So the Hellas is gonna be up for Halloween. Yeah.
Oh, pups. Let me
I
just
know.
confirm exactly. It's not the tell you. Oh, this episode comes out 29th.
The 29th. Okay.
So 2 days before Halloween. So
Dude,
spoil away.
perfect announcement. There you go. Hellas
go.
the 31st.
So Dad didn't spoil it.
Dad did not spoil it. He actually lined up a perfect announcement video. There you go.
So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it then, even though we
the
don't have it
Hellas,
here.
man.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
Hellas is coming out right before Halloween. That's going
The
to
Hellas
be a
is coming
new flagship. What's that called?
So I don't know what it's gonna be called yet. I don't know because it's gonna be tap room only.
Oh,
So
let's go. So just draft.
just draft. I don't know what it's gonna be called yet. We have a few ideas because it's Hellas German. We're gonna kind of figure out the German folklore idea, but we're not sure what it's gonna be yet. But for Halloween, because I guess this is coming out before Halloween, I can ruin everything.
No, this is good. This is like once again right beforehand. So even if it's like the day before, not everyone
Yeah.
listens to the podcast literally the day that comes out too.
Yeah, of course.
So
yeah.
you're safe.
So we're also releasing 4 seltzers.
Let's go. Okay, 4 seltzers.
Yeah. So the law in Quebec has changed. As long as you have a beer base, you can make anything.
Like malt.
So we made
right?
So we made a beer based seltzer. We're gonna have 4 seltzers that come out. Pineapple coconut, raspberry lemonade, blueberry, and watermelon lime. I'll give me the 3 flavors of the seltzers. 355 ml cans. It's gonna be called the Azzy. It's cool, man. It's cool because I think right now since that law came out, no one's really made seltzers.
Okay,
Like,
it's kind of chilled, eh?
Yeah, like we kind of sat there and like, okay, this law's coming out September 1st. There's gonna be a lot of seltzers coming out September 1st. And we waited and we watched and nobody really made seltzers. And we're like,
Huh.
interesting. Because everything we get here is like, make a sour, make a sour, make a sour. I'm like, what if I made a seltzer? And they're like, I'll drink a seltzer. It's like a White Claw. I'm like, it's close to a White Claw, you
Yeah.
know? So as long as it's similar, like they will drink it. So I know that the 4 flavors we have are solid. It's going to be interesting. I'm excited to see the feedback. I'm excited to see how that goes. Because again, like we make beer, right? Like this is not beer. So it's going to be interesting to see how people react to how the seltzers are. Because if they become so like popular and good, we don't make beer anymore. We make seltzers. You got to switch career path now.
Hey, man.
But
whatever works. People love it. Like I ain't seen
do
nothing wrong with breweries making seltzers.
Yeah, it's about the community, right? The community is so about the seltzers, just make seltzers, But
I think you're right though. Like you got to serve what the community wants,
Yeah.
and giving that variety. I always we talk about this a bunch, but like if the thing I notice about the States, and maybe in your travels there you feel the same. I feel like people perceive breweries in America for the most part to almost be like a bar versus a brewery. Like, and it's this niche thing. So I go around, I look around and I'm judging, but I'm like, y'all aren't beer motherfuckers. Y'all are just hanging out. So you guys think this is a bar, but they have wine, they have cocktails on draft, they have fucking seltzers, they have all these different things that are available. And maybe there's a table of people who aren't even drinking beers, like all sorts of different
cocktails
stuff.
And
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it makes people feel welcome who don't particularly, maybe, like me and you going to go out with a bunch of people, me and you want beer, but maybe a bunch of the people who are coming with us aren't really into it. But like, no, trust me, they got everything. You're good. And to them, it's a bar, but to us, it's a sick brewery. We got the fire. And I think that's going to be the future of craft brewing, is that like it needs to feel like a bar. And you know what I'm saying? And then seltzers that are made in house contribute to that.
It's the evolution of breweries. I'm not gonna say unfortunately, but like
no, it's not unfortunate.
It's not. Yeah, it's not unfortunate, but it's like it's kind of when I think breweries, I think beer. Like we think beer, like
sure,
but it's like it's kind of shifting from beers to as
hospitality.
Much as hospitality. It's becoming a place where you could go and play cards with your friends. But if you sit there and have the variety for everyone at the table who's playing cards, everyone there is going to be happy, Like if 5 people come in, 2 of them drink seltzers, 3 of them drink beers, and you can sell that to the people, and they can come and hang out, play board games in a quiet, controlled space, they'll be happy, you know? And that's kind of where everything is shifting a little bit. And I've noticed that, especially with breweries like, I'm going to shout out, dude, Scott, Loup-Garou. Those guys, they have their wine, they have their cider, they have their beer. I go and I have my beer. My girlfriend has wine, and we play cards. You know, but if they didn't have wine, would the experience be the same? I don't know. But it's the transition from beer strictly to a diverse portfolio, I would say, of alcoholic beverages is kind of what the future is for breweries. You know, you got to make sure you can appease the demographics, appease everybody who aren't just beer drinkers. Because if you strictly go for beer, the non-beer drinkers won't show up. So you got to make sure you hit every demographic so you can have the most amount of people in, make the most amount of money, and then put that back into your products and make crazier, bigger things, you know?
I couldn't agree more. I think that's exactly what it is. If you're not making everyone feel welcome, and it doesn't make it less of a brewery, though. That's kind of what you're saying. I don't think less of folklore that you're doing 4 different seltzers. I think that's dope. It's not particularly what I want to drink, but I would drink a seltzer. I'm just more partial to the beer.
Exactly.
But there's so many people who are coming through there. They either don't drink beer or just want something different. And you want to be able to bring your friends to a place that, it hits multiple different things. So do you have the license to be able to serve wine and things like that? Or do you have to no?
No, we don't. We don't have the license for wine or ciders because we've had a lot of opportunities to have cider on tap with a lot of Quebecois like cideries, and
some great ones out there.
We had a lot of wineries that wanted to have their wines in here, like family friends and stuff, and unfortunately that's not possible. But the
Can
thing
you
with
get
the
the license,
seltzers,
or it's not happening?
it's not possible. Well, I mean, I don't know because no, but I don't know if it's possible because the way it works is like it depends on the food. So if you can have a food kitchen, what I'm saying, if you can have a food kitchen permit and you can access food, you can have alcohol. There's also our location. Our location is inside an industrial area. We're inside a shipyard. Is that a safe place to have whiskey and wine and cider? You know, like we don't know. Like it's a very big governmental thing. It's just we have to go through the motions. I just don't know if it's realistic. The thing for us is that seltzers is so unique because it's a beer-based seltzer. So it's a beer-based seltzer where people who drink it won't taste beer. They taste seltzer. But on paper, on the recipe formula, it's beer. You brewed it the same way as a beer. You use the same hops as you would in a beer. You know, you use your Citra. You know, the yeast is there's so many similarities that it is a beer-based seltzer, but if you don't like beer and you see seltzer, you go, I'll have that, you know? So.
Yeah, at least there's a way for you to get around that part.
Our challenge is they're very restricted.
Yeah, it is very restrictive. I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you, Dad.
He heard you.
Quebec is fucked. Quebec is really, I mean, not even just, I don't want to shit on Quebec, just in like, because in the States it's the same. Canada's, it's just like, dude, when I was living there, I remember I looked it up. It was, Quebec is living off the law that was made in 1928. That's nearly 100 years ago. It's 97 years ago, right?
Yeah.
As a business owner, you and your family are operating off the same law at a time when nothing is the same. That was just before the Depression. Like, Doug, it's so insane. So I feel like alcohol got really caught up in all of this stuff. I understand it's a sin, but like, we're adults, man. Yeah. Let us make our own. I can order marijuana. I used to order weed in the mail from Montreal, but I can't order beer.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I'm so
I hate
the fact
it
that you guys can buy beer.
Yeah, online, right?
Province wide. Yeah, like I think if I lived literally in Hawkesbury, Ontario, this is like 40 minutes away from me.
Oh yeah, we used to go there all the time. Yeah.
I would buy so much Badlands.
Yeah.
So much Third Moon.
Just get it shipped across.
Shipped to me. I'll be broke, but I have so much beer. You know?
I mean, you could just get a little PO box.
Yeah, little
Yeah.
PO box. Yeah.
Yeah, a little PO box in there, but it's so silly that we can. I mean, look, maybe I heard word because of all of the talk with all the tariffs and da da da. Spring 2026. Apparently, that's when they're aiming to have the Canada-wide shipping open.
That'd be really bad for my bank account. I'm telling you that much.
Well, it means that people in BC can order Folklore right to their door.
And yeah, you know what? It's a good trade. I can live with that.
I think it'll balance out. I think it's sort of
think
like,
so,
yeah,
too.
I've heard mixed responses. Some people think it's awesome. Some people think it's not. It's going to trade one consumer for another.
Mhm.
So I definitely understand where it could be, but I just feel like I don't like the, like, you know better than anyone, like, because you're so fresh into it, like the level of restriction and thing you have to deal with to open up the business that you're opening up. It's kind of obscene, like, to let, oh, you need to do all of this for grown adults to operate a business, to sell stuff to other grown adults that, like, we know what it is. It's okay. We can make this decision. Don't handcuff businesses in this economy after all of this shit with COVID.
Yeah.
Like, let people sell whatever they want to whoever wants to buy it within, obviously if you're over age, like over the legal age, then cool. But it's just, it's quite frustrating. So I definitely empathize. I imagine for you guys it's 10x, but at least you got the seltzers. The seltzers is a fun way to do it, to get going there. Then you can look in. I think is it called the Tide House license, or is that the Ontario one?
I'm not sure.
So it's the one that allows you to make food. I know I was looking at your website earlier. You guys do sell food, like burgers, wings, like
we have a kitchen,
food. Yeah. So I think breweries that produce on site, that sell food that's made on site, I believe there's a certain license that you allow you to serve liquor and wine. You probably have to look into it, but I'm pretty sure it exists because I know that you go to, even like, I think Judas Ciel even has it, the one on Laurier there.
Oh
like,
my god, yeah.
I'm pretty sure they have it. Like, it's around. Yeah, it's dope. I'm pretty sure it's like, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure it's possible. It's just, I don't think it's fair at all that you guys should have to deal with all these level of kind of crazy restrictions when you're just trying to, serve the community, operate a business, and give people what they want. And if that's what they want, who is anyone to tell me I can't buy wine? If you want to sell me wine, why can't I buy that wine?
Why can't I buy wine? Yeah.
It just, it's silly.
No, like, obviously, like, I love the Quebec government because it pays my bills, but at the same time, I agree with you. It's like,
They won't be listening. You can say whatever.
There's some limitations that I just don't quite understand. Where it like you said, like, we have food. What stops us from having that license where you can have, like, maybe not like hard alcohol, but a wine and cider? Like a wine and cider at the least. Like, we have food. Have a cider on tap and a couple of bottles of wine that people who don't drink beer would come in. Like, right now, like, what we're trying to do is you got to play within the lines, right? Like, you got to play within your limitation and play within your strengths. And the problem with us is that our location and, like you said, the permits and all that stuff, and the government and all that stuff. But it's just, we got to do what makes sense for us. And if we want to have an option for everybody, it is the seltzers. The seltzers is the option, because we can't make wine here. Like, we can't make wine here and sell it. So what is the next option? It's seltzers, because you make it beer based. Right. So it is kind of, we can do X, Y, and Z, but within that, you can play within the limitations of not just beer. There are other options. As long as you follow the guidelines, you can do it. And that's kind of what we're doing, is we're reading the guidelines very thoroughly and going, okay, well, it doesn't say this, and then that gives us the opportunity to play within those limitations.
I love it. That's it. That's how you got to do it. I love it. I just see you knocked out. Let's get to that last beer, and we'll bring this
I'm just
bad
gonna
boy
use
home.
the washroom real quick, and then we'll use the last one.
I'll do the same thing. We'll be right
Amazing.
back.
Yes, sir.
And we are back, and it is
We are
time
back.
for the ultimate beer here. Fable number 1.
So,
So with, oops, this way around. Can you see that right there? It has Citra, Nectar on the Racal. Boom. What's the deal with this bad boy, brother?
this is our highest rated beer we've ever had. This is, if you go on Untappd, it is our highest rated beer, our most celebrated beer. It is when we started getting into. So this was originally our experimental series that we made. Experimental series, and then we had a few issues with it, with some oxidization, because we realized that we wanted to do a split. So we did one brew split with one brew put into a fermenter, then split half into another fermenter, different dry hops. And we realized that once we transferred it, it would oxidize. So this was a very short-lived experimental series that we had, and this happens also to be our highest rated beer we've ever made.
Interesting. So this experimental series does not exist anymore.
It does not. Fable does not exist anymore. Maybe we'll go back to it eventually and just do one bit at a time. But we were inspired by the brewery from Missouri, and I thought it was so cool with how they did it. I thought it was so cool with the experimental series, where it's just like the same idea, just chuck whatever malt you want at hop you want at it. You know.
Let's go.
So this one, when we made it and it came out, and the response across the community as well from the brewers that we dropped beers off of, I would get texts saying, "This one's good, guys. Like this one's like really good. Like good for you guys."
Hell yeah!
It was the reassurance we needed as a brewery, because we had a lot of beers out, but we didn't get that. I guess you would call it community appeal, where it was like the community would reach back and go, "Guys, good job." You know, like we had breweries from Ontario and Quebec turn around and go, "Guys, we liked this one." You know, and like we like your beers, but this one, you know, like that was what we were excited for. Was people would say that and we go, "This is, you know what? I'll take it." You know. So this was like our "we're doing good" moment. Was this one?
I love that. Well, with that, brother, cheers. Get that in you.
Get in there.
That's what's up. Yeah, I see that. 6.5% Citra, Nectar on Racal. Fucking Kiwi, Pacific Northwest. Fucking fire.
So what's funny about the Kiwi, you brought it up. I've been waiting. Because I've been holding it back. So my grandmother's from New Zealand.
Okay.
And I know, because you're from Australia, there is that little, you know.
We got some love. We got a little like I fuck with New Zealand so heavy. It's literally the funniest accent on the planet. Nothing is funnier.
The Kiwi accent.
Yo, I don't know if people here appreciate it enough. Like, do you think it? Do you, as a person who was born in England, and now you're here, do you think the Kiwi accent? Because I feel like North Americans don't always understand the nuances of how funny it is.
I find it funny, but I like to describe it, right? Because like the way I describe a Canadian accent and an American accent is very similar how I describe an Australian and a Kiwi accent. Is one is almost softer than the other one.
Which one's softer in Kiwi? In
New Zealand accent, a Kiwi accent is just softer. Period. I just find that even compared to Canadian and American, it's just soft. It's just a soft accent. Period.
Okay.
I just find they found very soft, kind of whispery. Like my grandmother, like Jan, every time she talked, it was like very quiet. You know, like compared to myself or my dad or people I know, she's very quiet. So I'd like to describe it to people who don't really understand the dynamics. I'm like, the Kiwi accent is very soft. I was a Australian accent is a little bit more
a little harsher.
Harsher, yeah. So that's how I describe it. And then they didn't understand that. I kind of compared the American-Canadian one, where the Canadian's very soft, and the American one's a little bit more harsher. A little bit more twangy, there's a little bit more going on. But I love the Australian accent. But I do agree with you. The Kiwi one has this weird sense of like not gonna say
opposite
fun.
vowels. It's like
Yeah.
everything about it. Have you seen? Do you know what beached as is?
Uh-uh.
Oh my god! How old are you?
I'm 25.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so in the 2000s, there was this YouTube video called Beached As. They were made by Aussies, and it was a
As.
cartoon, Beached As, and it's about a whale. It's like a minute and a half, like a whale and a pelican and a kiwi, and the whale is beached, and they're talking, oh Hebrew, oh Hebrew, like it's
Yeah.
there is not. I can't even like. I don't think North Americans could even fathom the level like of funny. And funny enough, the guy who was the voice of that shit owns a brewery in New South Wales now.
Oh, really?
And I connected with him, and I was supposed to get him on. I've still got to work on it, but it's the funniest thing in the world to me. And like, we would make fun of it to the point we would talk Kiwi so much. We went there in 2008, went to Auckland, and my brother's like,
my God,
dude,
yeah.
if people want to bash you, like, because I wouldn't stop it. He's like, I'm not protecting you. You have to stop, because I couldn't stop the accent. Because you just want to, oh, bro, oh, choice says, oh, bro,
Yeah, exactly.
oh, sure, bro, shorty. Like,
Yeah.
people don't get it. You get it. You've been there. They talk
Yeah,
like
I've
that.
been there. Yeah, no,
Oh.
they sound like the whistle. I was like, oh, you want to buy for that? Yeah.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah. Oh, you want a bag, bro?
Everything's in the question.
Oh, sweet as, Oh, that's
He's
so
literally-
choice, bro. But it's like
That's so choice, bro.
everything's a question, but it's the slang too.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of Kiwis in Australia, and I had a mate
Really?
in Queensland, and all the Kiwis go to Queensland because it's warm, and a lot of because New Zealand has made the indigenous Maoris, but then there's also the Pacific Islanders, Tonga, Samoa, Fiji, Vanuatu, New Caledonia, all that shit. A lot of those Cook Islands live in New Zealand, and then they go to
Australia.
Queensland. They go to Australia, but they go to Queensland because it's warmer. Lots in Melbourne too, where I'm from, but up north. And I had a friend up there, so I was like, I've been up there a bunch. And his like one of my mates married this Kiwi chick, and so I went. It was at his wedding, and they're all teaching me the difference with all the slang and stuff. And it was just like, oh, I love it so much. It's so good. And even when I'm mocking it, I'm not mocking it. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
It's the best. For shouts to the Kiwis.
Oh my God, yeah.
I wish Canadians and Americans or whatever could appreciate how funny it is. I just don't know if they might just think it sounds weird, but you got to be there to just be like
a lot of our brews are inspired by the Kiwis because of the fact my grandmother's from New Zealand, and then it's like your grandma's
you're
from
basically a Kiwi, hey bro.
So my
Sweet
so my dad has a New Zealand passport, eh?
Oh my God, that's what all the billionaires are buying bunkers, bro. Oh,
No,
it's so
exactly.
choice, bro.
So choice.
Shouts to Robbie.
But
Bug Rob.
Exactly.
Bug
So
Rob.
Robbie has a
You should
a
get one, Doug.
passport. I
Get
can't.
one.
I can't
Why?
because
You have to be there.
No, I think the way it is that your parent has to be born in New Zealand, and I have a British and Canadian, so I don't know which one I would give up.
No. You can have multiple. Don't worry about that.
I got multiple.
Don't give up shit.
Dude, screw it. I'm gonna unlock them all.
Don't ever give up a passport. Fuck that.
Oh, never.
Nah, dog. Because I got Aussie and Canadian, and I feel like because Australia gets me into New Zealand, and just like Rob's passport gets him
Proximity,
into Australia. But it's not even about when I say get you in. I mean you can live, work. With
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I have a British passport, and that can get me into Ireland, which I did not know that until recently, where I can live like the same thing.
And
It's like a
Ireland's the
proximity
shit.
thing. It's like a proximity thing, right? Like you're literally less than an hour flight away. You know, people wake up at 6 a.m. to get for 6:30 flights to fly to work at 7:30
Which
to
is
then come
insane.
home. You know, like there's people who do that, and like it's possible. So I understand the thing.
Concept, I guess.
Yeah. So he has a New Zealand passport because his mother, and like it's the coolest thing. It's so sick.
It's
I
the
wish.
place. It's beautiful, man. It's the New Zealand's like all the billionaires are buying bunkers there for a reason. It's
so cute.
it's my backup plan if everything goes to shit in the world.
Everything
It's
goes
like,
to shit. Yeah.
get to New Zealand, get
to
a
New
bunker,
Zealand.
go live underground or whatever, like the hobbits. Fuck
Yeah.
man. That's what
Oh
they're
yeah.
doing.
I've been to Hobbiton. I know what's up. They
You know
have
the vibes, bro.
Yeah,
I only went
dude.
to Auckland, and I say Hobbit. Is that in the South Island?
South Island. So when I went to New Zealand, I did a road trip. So I drove through the North Island, flew out of Wellington to the South Island, and then drove
Okay.
down, and then flew back up to Auckland. But I did a Hobbiton, and Hobbiton was cool.
Your dad,
Huh?
Lake Tekapa.
Oh yeah, and I did like Tekapo. My grandmother's from New Zealand. My dad, New Zealand, like Tekapo. My
Tiamotu.
Tuamotu.
I lived
He lived. He's passionate about this. He lived
I like it.
in Lake Tekapo. He went to
Okay.
school in Lake Tekapo, so he lived in New Zealand for a little bit. My grandmother's from Tuamotu, and so they are. He remembers life in New
there.
Zealand. So
Okay.
when I went to New Zealand, when we did a road trip, we stopped in Lake Tekapo, did a couple of days. We saw the school he went to and all that stuff. That was really cool. All that stuff was really sick. And like, what's funny is like New Zealand is a very special place for me because like my grandma's from there, my dad grew up there to an extent, and like that's where I kind of learned about beer.
Yeah, that's
As
true.
well.
So it's a lot ties back to that.
A lot ties back to it because that is where I went to Garage Project. I went to Heyday. I went to Altitude. If you
Mhm.
want to talk about like a scenic brewery,
Yeah.
I think Altitude is one of the coolest scenic breweries I've ever been to because you're in Queenstown. You're drinking inside a what would you describe it as? Like a container, a shipping container. You're drinking
Okay.
inside a shipping container, and you look outside, and it's the location where they filmed The Lord of the Rings.
That's
Like where
insane.
he's walking on the mountains. It's there. So you're looking at all
Wow.
these mountains and you're drinking an IPA with freestyle hops from New Zealand in New Zealand, and you're like, I don't know what gets better than this, you
You're
know?
in Mutera and all those like Nelson Sylvan. I think it's like some
Oh
sort
my
of place
God,
or whatever the
yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful part of the world, and it's very cool on the impact that it's had on global beer culture for a country of 4 million people. And like, if I'm not mistaken, and this is what we said
Mhm.
about New Zealand growing up, there's like 150 million sheep.
Yep.
So you can imagine what we said about New Zealanders growing up.
Oh, 100%.
They were always like the little bro, like America is to Canada, like Australia to New Zealand was always like, oh, these fucking these guys over here, oh no, bro, all it's
Yeah.
but like they've had an outsized impact on craft beer, and it's
Mhm.
really cool, and it's cool that you lean into it, because if that's a family owned brewery and there's literal your father, like not only your grandmother's from there, your father like went to school there, that's amazing.
We're very fortunate to be able to play into that realm where it's like, so we had a beer called Manic Moa, which is about a folklore of a carnivorous bird that was 12 feet tall, kind of like an emu, but 12 feet tall, that would used to eat the Maori. They used to eat them, and it was like it was like a big thing, kind of like the Australian emu war, but in New Zealand.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
That's kind of
so
crazy.
yeah, so kind of like the same thing to an extent. And then we also made a beer called the Manuka, which was the can is really cool. Could you get the can? The can. It's a bee. So we used Manuka honey from New Zealand. We imported it from New
Hell
Zealand
yeah.
because the Maori believed that the Manuka honey would give them healing powers, and it would give
Okay.
them super like strength and speed, like kind of make them like a superhuman. That was like kind of like the belief system. So we imported Manuka honey from New Zealand, and we made this can
That's sick.
of Manuka
Like,
honey, double
doing the
IPA.
haka.
Yeah, it's a bee doing the haka with moko. And what's the hops on this thing? This is Nectaron, Rakau, and Owaka. 100% New Zealand hops, 100% New Zealand honey that we imported. Like I remember the brew
That's
day,
amazing,
we
dude.
showed up with like 6 little containers of Manuka honey, and Kevin, who was the other brewer at the time, was like, do I dump all this in? I'm like, yes. And he went, okay, dude, I want to know what it would taste like on toast. So he dumped 5 out of the 6, left the 6 that's at the fridge in the back, and every day I'll show up and there'll be a little bit less honey. And it's because he would show up to brew and work and stuff, and he would be putting honey on his toast, and he would eat the toast. So the honey would quickly disappear. And then at the end, I'm like, dude, you out of honey? And he goes, it was really good, man. I don't know what to tell you, dude. The honey was really great. Thank you for spending money on that honey for me.
All the way from the motherland. It's yeah, Manuka honey
Really?
is something special. I keep that shit on deck. Like it's
Yeah.
it's a special thing. It's a beautiful place, man. And it's cool that you guys lean into that because you've got like a country benefit here from the UK to here to New Zealand, and you know, if you're able to like, nobody can argue like they have the best hops on the planet.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that as an Aussie who we formerly had the best hops on the planet. And
Yeah.
Kiwis just came through and just fucking wiped the floor in the last 5-6 years. It just is
Yeah.
what it is, you know, and it's a beautiful thing, and there's nothing that even comes close. Galaxy's back in action, thankfully for
It
my
was in the
people.
MOA. It was in the MOA.
It is okay, beautiful, because you knew it was back. But like at the same token, like Peach Arena is the greatest hop of all time. That's Kiwi as
There's
fuck.
nothing that can beat Peachy. Like
Nothing.
it's so upsetting because we tried so hard to get 2 hops, and it was Southern Cross Peachy, and we realized like we couldn't get Peachy. It was like pretty much Treehouse and Trillium was like, we want this for the next couple of years, you know. But Southern Cross, like we didn't get Southern Cross either, and we're like, those were our 2 favorite hops. And we're like, oh.
I think if you contract someone, I did a why is this? Somebody told me, it could have even been the last pods last week, and I'm having a complete blank because we drink a lot during these pods. I swear somebody told me that they figured out how. Oh, it was Cold Bear in Ottawa. They just outside of Ottawa. They said that they just contracted other hops, and if you contracted certain hops, you were able to have access to Petrine from Freestyle. So
like
direct, I believe, yes. So that's what they said. They made it sound so simple and so easy, because one of the first beers I tried from them was a dry hopped lager with Petrine. I couldn't believe it because the only other one I'd ever had was from Treehouse 2 years ago.
Lager with Peachy.
Yeah, and it was fucking amazing. So Cold Bear, I can connect you with these dudes if you like.
I would absolutely love that.
Like, even I feel like you guys could definitely do they're cool as shit. It was actually the episode before this. Super fire. Sorry, now it's all coming back to me. And they made it seem so simple. Like, yeah, you just like, we contracted this, then we just got some Petrine, we got some blah blah blah. I was like, no one else I've ever spoken to has made it sound so easy to get.
Every single Quebec brewery is on red alert right now. Every single one.
Well, you can't get it on spot. You got to contract it. You have to contract other stuff to be able to buy it. And
it's like a bonus.
Essentially.
Oh, shit.
But it's the GOAT. So, more than happy we can talk off air to connect you with them, because they're actually quite close to you. But yeah, so the Kiwi stuff, like, I like that you're authentic with it. And I love Garage Project, and I think it's dope that that's where you discovered Haze, and they're extremely, like, even they're one of the bigger Kiwi breweries.
They are, yeah.
They're impeccable. Like, they're so good.
That was a crazy experience for me, because I experienced Hazy there, but at the same time, like, there's a brewery called Heyday, and I remember Heyday being exceptional as well. Like, it was one of those things where, like, now that I understand the brewing and the hops and the saturation and stuff, I look back at the beers I had, and I go, man, Heyday, there was a beer called, what was the beer called? Who's Your Daddy? There was a beer called Who's Your Daddy, and the logo was Arnold Schwarzenegger. There was, like, this crazy ass logo from, what was it, Parent Teacher Cop? Something like that? Kindergarten Cop?
Oh, Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah, and it was, like, this amazing beer, and I remember trying to get it. Yeah, I remember drinking it. Yeah, I remember drinking it, going, "This is phenomenal," but I didn't understand in that moment what I was drinking, because of how fresh it was. Like you said, like, the king of New Zealand hops, right? Like, the king of hops right now is New Zealand, and the king of that hop is Peachy. So it's like so much going through New Zealand. So when you're in the New Zealand, and, like, that's why I said earlier, like, I regret not untapping, is because I don't remember how good they were. I just know they were really good. I just don't remember how good they were. I wish I can go back and try those beers, because I would love to now, as someone who went to school for brewing, brews beers, owns a brewery, go back and try these beers and go, man, like, this is fucking sick, like, this is awesome, I wish I can go back and figure that out, but
you can still check in, and then worst case, you're gonna have to plan another trip, and it's not like I
put
feel like
on the
for
business
some,
credit card. You know, this is fine.
it's all 100% write off, my guy.
There you
Shit,
go.
everything's a write off, and it's extra cool because there's a connection there for you guys, which
Mhm.
is very cool and rare out here. I almost like feel like you need to not play that up, but lean into it a bit.
Well, we did for our logo. So our
Okay.
logo is interesting because if you look at our logo, the
Mhm.
bottom is the bottom of the top. The top is Maori like art, and the bottom is Irish art.
As far
So
as the
you got the Triskelion, and then
oh, I see.
you got the Celtic knots at the bottom. So our logo itself is a play into our heritage, which is something that was really. My sister made the logo. It was very interesting how we did that. It was kind of like the same thing with the name. We kind of sat down and was like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "I would love a Wendigo head. Go with like this country kind of style thing." She went, "That's cool, with the camo, all that stuff." But like, we gotta play into who we are. You know, make sure that people know who we are as people because we are a family built community thing. So we were like, okay, well, New Zealand because New Zealand hops, New Zealand family, and then Irish because Guinness and like I have a tattoo of it, like Guinness and like um we have English Irish heritage. You gotta play into it a little bit to an extent
Mm,
because if you are a family owned brewery, the one thing that people love is the fact that you are a family. They love the fact that you are in it together. You guys are working together to succeed. And if our logo represents us as a family and us as individuals, it also like kind of we embody that, you know, we
mm,
embody what the logo is. I look at the logo and I see everything that I do love. I see the heritage that I'm from. I see the community that I'm from, the beer culture I'm from, like what I enjoy. It gives me a lot of emotion that I really wanted from a logo.
mm.
So when I see it, it makes me very happy, and I hope other people get to see that, understand that us as a brewery are coming from a place of like care. We want to care. We want to care about the product. We want to care about the people. We want to care about the community, and that's kind of like our purpose, our intention. You know.
Mm. I fuck with that. I love it. I think one thing, 'cause I own a social media agency, right?
Yeah.
So one thing I think might be valuable without kind of looking at everything that's going on, if there's a way for you guys to do some like we call it like founder led content, which is
Mm-hmm.
basically be yourself, your pops, talking. I know the video that you have on the website is great, and Rob's on there talking and stuff. Even if there's just some like additional content that's talking about everything you just said with regard to the heritage in more detail, because that logo is so fire, but it's nuanced and it's subtle, and if you
Mm-hmm.
don't know, you don't know.
Yeah.
So I think you need to tell,
You
and
have
if you
to
can
explain
tell
it.
that, yeah, and like in a way the way you're able to do, we call them talking head videos as well. So like it's yourself or your dad or someone in the like from the family. Basically YouTube would probably be good, or maybe your sister because she's doing the art as well. But just maybe like explaining, like, you know, your dad talking about, hey, I went to school in this town in New Zealand and my mother's from here, and we, you know, and we're really connected to the land, and that's why we really like using hot, like that would differentiate the brand in Canada or in period, let alone Quebec, let alone Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as far as letting people know, like, hey, we're actually really connected to this country that has the best hops on the planet.
We're not just
And
using these hops. We're connected to the country itself. Yeah.
exactly, we're connected to
I
the
agree.
land. You know, we understand it. We have a deep respect for it. Like, I know everyone has a deep respect for it because it's the best, but
Mm-hmm.
y'all are from there, and there's a
Yeah.
difference with being from there, like culturally and physically. So I guess all I'm saying is maybe, and then not to mention that, not even discounting the UK heritage as well, just to sort of maybe expand it. If you're talking, maybe it's almost like, hey, this is why we use these hops, and then you're like, oh, we're
Yeah.
also from UK, Ireland, blah blah blah, and that's why we really love the pub beers and the Irish stouts and
Yeah.
the. So like, there's ways to kind of like to bring that into the brand, and because you're so young as a
Mm-hmm.
brand, it's pretty cool as far as you got so much bandwidth to let people know you're so fresh, and it's cool, man. It's okay. You start sliding that shit in and just letting people know that there's an addition. That's what would differentiate you guys. Like, we actually have a connection to this country and this other country with those styles of beer. So then it ties in not just the beer styles, the ingredients and stuff, and just letting people know that, like, this is what's up. I don't know. Learning this about you right now, that's the first thing that comes to mind. And I think that would be, like, if I knew that the owners had a connection to New Zealand as an Australian in Canada for 15 years, I'm like, yo, okay. Like, because like you said earlier, like, I see New Zealand, I kind of see my people.
Yeah.
Like, Aussies, yeah. But New Zealand is like, it's the same shit. Like, you know, we're all people. If I see a Kiwi out here, I'm like, shit, like,
Dude, what are you doing here?
Yeah, oh, bro, what's going on, cuzzy? Like, you wanna connect with them. Oh, it's so choicey, just shot, bro. Like, it's so sick. Like, people don't get what we're even talking about, but like, it's those small things. I'm like, because we just understand each other on a level, and there's something also to be said about the UK connection as well, and particularly in beer, and particularly in Quebec, in a place that's, you know, hella francophone, and I've also been an immigrant in Quebec trying to assimilate, and it's very difficult. I could never connect. None of my friends were from from Quebec. So you and I probably have a lot of similar experiences. I never got to any sort of level of French speaking that got me through it. But like, you know, we talk to a lot of people because of the podcast, right? So I connected with a lot of folks, and everyone was very, very, very kind, speaking to me in English, and I'm very grateful for that. And that's why I love Quebec forever. But it's, yeah, man. Anyway, all that to say, I know we're sort of rambling, but I just think that's like such a cool differentiating factor for you guys. I think
No,
you guys...
I agree. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, we kind of really, when we went into it, kind of embodied the family aspect, kind of the embodiment of our heritage. And we're lucky enough to be able to come to places that have a lot of beer culture, you know, like the New Zealand with the hops, but also like arguably some of the best craft beer places in the world come from New Zealand, and arguably the best beer of all time comes from Ireland, you know, like, so it's like we've been able to play into where we're from and our culture and the heritage as a brewery and go, guys, we are from these specific places. Let us make beer that reminds us of our home, reminds us of places that we would love to go and get a beer from for you guys to enjoy. And like I agree, like I feel like in a way we kind of have to show that more, because it is kind of, it's hard for us to show it in a way that isn't like, you know, like the classic infomercial where it's like, we're a family that owns like you know, what do you call it, like a chair company, you know, like we're a family owned chair company, you know, like it's not, it's hard to make it feel not like that. But in the same sense, it is important for us to show, like, we are a brewery that has these connections to these places that have such rich beer culture and beer history. And in a way, it is important for people to know that where we're coming from is from that. We want people to understand that where we're coming from is, when we use New Zealand hops, is because we want to represent our home. When we're making the Irish dry stout, it's because we want to have a staple of our home. The King Arthur, we want to have a staple of our home, you know, like we want it to be a representation of our culture, our heritage. And every time people buy a drink that is from our culture or has our culture's heritage, we are in a turn helping our culture. We're helping where we're from. We're helping our heritage and what we're proud of and what we're part of, you know? And I feel like a lot of people, because we haven't really, like, we've expressed it to an extent, but we haven't really expressed it that much, that I feel like people kind of forget that like, I am born in the UK and we are from New Zealand heritage and we have Irish heritage and all these things, you know. I feel like that is a part that kind of gets missed inside the product that we make. And I feel like if people were to know that more, it would be a lot more personable, not just for us, but for the consumer as well. They can sit there and actually understand that what we're drinking is from a place of strategic love. We're using these hops not because they're the best, like they are the best, but not because they are the best. It's because that is a place that we are connected to, and the styles we have, like the King Arthur and the Genie, is not because it's a famous style or popular style. It's because that is the style of where we're from. And it's our love letter to where we're from,
Yeah, that's a really great way to put it. And I think that's basically what you're saying, is that needs to be kind of like pushed across. And it's almost like when you do the beer releases, that could be, instead of just some photo, I was just as you were talking, I'm on your Instagram, I was just looking at like Kobold and Caddy and Gluck and stuff like that, and just be like, you know what, the photos are cool, but maybe there could be some value in having yourself, your pop, somebody,
or personal things,
and just like talking head reels. Like, I'm saying this as a social media agency owner because I'm passionate about founder-led content, meaning you guys talking about the stuff, and it brings an additional connection because, one, it's puts a face to the brand, or multiple faces to the brand, but two, you're able to speak to them, like, hey guys, we're doing this beer because you know what, we were born, actually, you might not know, fun fact, we were born in the UK and or the Isle or whatever, and we have this strong connection to the land, and then we have it, blah, blah, blah. And just sort of like giving some additional context to the story. And humans buy into stories, and if people don't know your story, maybe they don't know enough about what you stand for to buy into it. And as soon as they know, they'll be like, oh, sick. Even if they've got nothing to do with nothing, you're like, oh, these guys have a connection to New Zealand. Nobody has a connection to New Zealand here in beer. Like, I do talk to a lot of people. I've never come across anything. So it's a valuable differentiator where you can be like, yo, we actually, we know people, we know the farmers, or we know the land, or we know the culture, and we're from this. And for us, this is more than just buying expensive hype hops. They're like,
it's representation.
It's representation of our people, of a culture that we're very connected to, that's a part of the DNA of the brewery. And I feel like that could just be an additional cultural touch point that people could relate to. So it's something just to consider. Yeah, man. It's not the craziest thing to really worry about, but it's just something to...
There's an extra flavor,
extra little flavor from here. But look, we're basically coming up on 4 hours. This has obviously been a fantastic chat, bro. You're a champion. This has been such an easy hang, man. Like, you're a gem. The beers are fantastic. The stories are great. I'm super happy for you guys that the universe placed an opportunity and you decided to take it. And I think that is admirable. I think it's extra cool that it's you and your pops and your family involved in it. I feel extra connected to you guys because of that Kiwi connection, and I guess my ancestry is from the UK as well. So it's man. I'm like, congrats on everything so far. It's only been a very short 5 months.
Yeah, man.
But next year, 2026, you're gonna hit that 1 year. Lots happening. You're improving on the products. You've got your head in the right place. You're talking to people. You're putting your face and your name out there, and I just think you're doing all the right things, brother.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Man, no problem at all. Stick around. We'll finish up afterwards. But where can everybody find Folklore online and in real life?
Dude, Microbrasserie Folklore on all social media: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Real life, 123 Avenue, Labrosse, man. Pointe-Claire. That's where we're located.
Gang. And they can get, if they're outside of Quebec, get a friend in Montreal to come and get you the stuff. If you're in Quebec, you should be able to get it at a bunch of select specialty beer stores. Yep, beautiful. To grab onto that. But brother, thank you again for your time. Really appreciate you, man. It's great to have hung out. Stick around, like I said earlier. We'll finish up off air. But 7 beers deep, Jesus Christ, guys. Thank you so much for watching and listening. If you enjoyed the episode, smash the thumbs up, hit subscribe below, hit that notification bell so you know when the new drops. Follow us everywhere at BAOS Podcast. Check out the long form audio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Specifically, give us 5 stars, not for me, goddammit. Give it for Alex, for Folklore, for New Zealand, for the Cuzzy Bros.
Yes,
and
sir, man.
And we'll see y'all in the next one, yo. Peace, guys.
Peace, Boston.